welcome, my friends, to Clobbering Times, Saturday Night Star Trek. Clobber Times issue number, by the way, 228 on YouTube, but 928 overall. And Saturday Night Star Trek number 42, if you're one of those numbers people. It is so wonderful to see you all here with us tonight. Well, it's always just the best because you're always just so amazing and had just a wonderful time last week. And I just look forward to this every week because I not only get to hang out with what a just some amazing, incredible chat room, but the greatest first officer in the fleet. My wonderful, say hello everyone to my wonderful first officer, the amazing, the incomparable Commander R.M. Raquel Briggs. Love you, number one. Thank you for being with me tonight.
I love you so much. I feel so unworthy of that introduction. And I love you, and you are my Star Trek soulmate. And it is such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you and all of the wonderful people in the chat who have helped us create this amazing community. Thank you for this beautiful space to discuss Star Trek. Well, none of us would be here without you. You're fantastic. I'm excited. It's Saturday.
It is another Saturday night, and I don't know where everyone's singing. The other song with Saturday Night's All Right for a Fight. Remember that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
You remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
Let's see here. We have a great chat group here with us tonight, and we're going to do what for those who are new, that haven't been here before. We like to say hello to everyone. What a great crowd that's piling up right now. That's piling in, and we love you all. We are very interactive. Our Saturday Night Star Trek here is very interactive. We review the episode. We have 4 tonight. We will review the episode. We will rate it, and then I will ask, of course, my wonderful chat to give us your rating and your opinion of the episode, your review, or your whatever comments you may have about the episode. So before
it's really
we do that,
unique that we do that. I mean, in most other places on YouTube, people have to pay to have what they want to say said on air. And certainly it becomes difficult when the crowd gets really big. And I think that the intimacy that we have here helps facilitate this larger discussion with a whole room full of people. And in that way, we're recreating what we used to do at the old comic conventions. So I'm really proud that we do that. It takes a lot of work and it takes more time, but I think it's entirely worth it. I love hearing what the chat thinks, and I know you do too, Clabby.
I love it. I love this interaction we have. And again, with the chat, when we first started doing this, a lot of this we're just kind of making up as we go along. We really didn't have a set format other than to review the episodes, and it just it became a thing that grew legs and started walking all by itself. Yeah. It just kind of took on a life of its own. As far as we were talking to the chat anyway, but to hang out with the chat and do the interactive things that we do with them, that kind of it became it wasn't a plan really. I didn't have that much. It just happened, and we didn't know what we were going to do other than review episodes, and it became just such fun that it's a staple now. And I guess if there were 200 people, you couldn't do that.
Yeah, it would be way too difficult. Imagine reading out the review score and all the comments for 200 people. It would be impossible.
But if there ever gets to a point where it is too many, it doesn't matter. We're going to still love every one of you, and we're going to we'll just find a way to do it, like get your comments beforehand or something. Yeah. We'll find a way to do that.
We will evolve.
Yep. And before we get started with our hellos, and before we get into our episodes, I want to say, of course, I will do a show note right after I do. Well, I don't have real much in the show notes, but I want my first officer, to tell you all about her wonderful works of fiction that she does, and because she is a writer, and there's of course a link in the chat to her work right there. Go for it, number one.
That's so kind of you. Thank you so much.
Not at all.
Thank you for plugging my work. I am a published nonfiction author, and I do fiction. A lot of people don't know this, but I love writing science fiction, and I have been in love with short fiction forms my entire life, and all of the authors who are the very best at short fiction forms. I also love flash fiction, so that's what I write. I write short fiction forms, and they're science fiction. And they are for sale at Amazon, and you can download them on any device. You can get them through Goodreads. You can also get them on your Kindle device. I think each story is 74 cents American, and I'm not really doing it for the money. I'm doing it more for the support. I'm trying to drum up some buzz so that I can get a local publisher to do a hardback collection of all of my short stories. And certainly that's something that I would like to share with my American friends when that opportunity becomes available. So, yeah, if you want to support my work, you can find me at RM Briggs at Amazon, Kindle, or Goodreads. Thank you, Clobby.
No, thank you for being here. You're the best. You've made this such a wonderful time for all of us, and I just appreciate you and love you so much, and love this great group we have here. What an amazing bunch. And let's see here. Don't worry, Dad, man. I'm not going to be rubbing it in. I promise.
What happened with our Dadman clan?
Dude, I'm not going to rub in. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. He put it in the chat, but I'm not going to rub it in, buddy. I'm not that kind of guy. Just a certain team lost to another certain team today.
Oh.
And you're not going to hear about it from me, pal, because I love you too much then, man. I had to tease you a little bit, dude. Come on, man. It's football. And I don't even, if it makes you feel better, I had to miss it. Didn't get to watch it. Okay. Tonight, every night, of course, is Saturday Night Star Trek. Monday night, however, is Monday Night Mark C. Comics Talk. I don't have anything specifically planned for it. I'm probably just going to do an open forum where I recommend and talk about other comics that I think you should be reading, things like that. Who knows? It's totally open. Wednesday night, of course, open Geek Talk, where again I just spend time with my wonderful friends, and talk to the chat and have a good time. Who knows? I'm thinking of maybe injecting a topic into that one on Wildcard Wednesday. Global Geek Gang shall gather Thursday afternoon, 1 p.m. Central. Geek Gang. That what she said. Yeah. And then, of course, had a wonderful time this past Thursday night for Clubby's Clubhouse, talking to my wonderful first officer, Raquel, and the great Mark D with the C.
Yay.
It has been so much fun doing that, and we appreciate everyone who's been hanging out with us for that. I want to say we can't dwell on it too long because it would take forever, but hey, who's the captain? The Shat is the captain. Space is no longer the final frontier for him. Love, right. love. Had to say something about that, even though we're in the midst of doing a next gen there. So, and also everyone, she had braces, but we'll explain that later. Dolly had braces. Everybody, spread the word. Oh, Sherry, hello there. Well, let's see. We're gonna say our hellos to everyone now, because this is a ritual with us. We just love shouting you guys out because we appreciate you so much. Not only do we shout you out at the beginning and the end of the show, we, of course, as we've mentioned earlier, we get your participation in the reviews and stuff. So we're going to do this really quickly. Then we'll get to our reviews of the 4 thrilling episodes that we have for you tonight. Let me see where it is. Hang on one sec. Get my bearings here. Make sure we got them all written down. I think I got everybody written down. If I missed anyone, just shout out. But here we go. The Great Phantom Outsider, buddy. Always a pleasure, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, Phantom Outsider. Stuart Mitchell. You, sir.
Stuart.
The man who started the Braces War himself.
Yes, he did. It was hysterical.
She had braces, by the way. Just saying. I'm getting some she had. Yeah, we got to think of a hashtag for that. And that's a long story. I can't explain what it means now, but most of you know. All right. Thank you, Stuart. Raymond and Sandra Feliciano. Hello, my friends.
Good evening, Felicianos.
Hey.
They're romantic. They're fun to be around, and they're the biggest nerds and geeks. Welcome, Felicianos.
Welcome. Snorta Poopers, Cuber.
Snortapoopus. Cuber.
That's the new way we're doing it, folks.
Well, that I do have to say, because of last week, yeah, I don't, well, it's not that I don't know what happened. I know what's happened. I was on the Google Chrome last week, and apparently it was equalizing my voice, even though I have my mic turned like way, way, way down. So my master volume and my secondary volume are turned way, way down. And believe it or not, the StreamYard is equalizing my voice to your microphone. And it's doing it through the program. And so last week, and this is a brand new thing that it's been doing. And last week, so it did it with the Chrome, and then a couple of days ago, I tested it, and it's doing it with Firefox as well. So this is a brand new thing that it's been doing. So although I've been doing Snortapoopus for 6 months now, I will not be able to do Snortapoopus anymore because I mean I can't turn my mic volume down any more than it already is. If I did, you wouldn't hear me at all. But I guess they've changed the software for the StreamYard, and that's just the way that it is, folks. So here's your new Snortapoopus. Are you ready? You can hear it one more time. Snortapoopus. Cuber.
I'm gonna get her to write that down so she can just put it in the chat next time. Oh my goodness. Sorry, Snort. You just have to live with the disappointment now.
Hysterical.
I'm sorry, buddy. Steve Mitchum, brother. I think he's in and out tonight, but great to see you, buddy.
Good evening.
Enigmatic drop there. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
D-Bud Martin, buddy. I'm Anne of Iron. The lovely 6. It is wonderful and lovely to see you here with us this evening. Zathras here. Zathras do. I can yell Zathras and my microphone will be fine. Microphone Zathras not so much.
That's not what he wants to hear. You ready, Zathras?
I don't know. Is there something else here?
Crap.
Oh, he does like that, yeah. Kal-El 48, buddy. Good to see you there. And of course, one of our great buddies. I hope you were feeling better, Mr. Eric K. We love the great Eric K, the Bronze Surfer brother. Good to see you. You're the man.
Dad, man, you're so funny. Sorry, keep going, Clobby. I'm just reading everybody's comments.
Hope you're doing better, Eric. Let's see here. Zax, yo, Hulk villain. The wonderful anti-derivative Jill. Hey, Jill. Good to see you as always. JT Kirk, buddy. All right. Good to see you there.
Good evening.
Michael Beacom. Great to see you, sir.
Hi, Michael.
Mr. and Mrs. Dad Man Walking 55. Great to see you. I thought you liked them.
That was by request.
Oh, so there was
the
not
Dad Man clan requested a raspberry as their hello. So I am obliging the request.
Right. So it wasn't a commentary on them then.
No, I love the Dad Man clan. The Dad Man clan are like one of my favorite families on the internet. They're just the coolest people.
We love the Dad Man clan, absolutely. Mr. Angel, Chef, what's up, bud?
Good evening, Chef.
Good to see you. The master of all that is wrench Canadian, the greatest Canadian wrench of all time, Chris Persia, brother. Love you, man.
Christos, it is so nice to see you. Chris and Eric, I love you guys so much. Thank you for helping us with the show. We appreciate you both so much. And Eric, I hope you're feeling better. I love you, and I hope you're feeling better, honey.
Yeah, buddy, we really appreciate you, man. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Apollome's Minion and
Pupper.
Well, that's the way it is it?
And the pupper.
And the pupper. John, aka JPRPH1. John, thank you for being here tonight.
John.
Max Redstone, what's up, dude? Good to see you, buddy.
Max Redstone, I love you. Good to see you, my friend.
Absolutely. Alaric Harrowson, hey, welcome. Welcome.
Good evening, Alaric. Oh, look at this. Ironcaster has a question about what we're going to do after we do Star Trek. I will let my captain handle that when he gets to you, Ironcaster. Good to see you, by the way, sir.
I don't know. It's going to be good to see you, Ironcaster, by the way, brother. Always good to see you there. I don't know. It's going to be years, but maybe Babylon 5 by then, before that
Mm.
dumb reboot comes out. I don't know for sure. We'll do some shorter shows, but we will definitely we'll still do a Star Trek show even beyond that. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Because there's still so much to talk about with Star Trek. Terrell 72, hey, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
First time I've seen you here, but I've seen you on a couple other here from some other shows, and of course over at the great Latino Slant, the wonderful It's Courtney Fellowship of Oddballs.
Ooh,
Hello there,
nice.
Courtney.
Good evening.
Great to see you, Courtney.
Hey, Ted's here.
He is 1903 TX. Hello, hello, hello.
Good evening.
Good to see you. Guess who else is here? Say, I don't know how you're gonna whisper this one. Wolfie. Wolfie 762.
Hopefully that wasn't too loud on the new equalizer. Thanks, StreamYard, for ruining all the fun.
The great Mark D with a C. What's up, brother?
Good evening, Mark.
The lovely Sherry is here. Sherry, great to see you.
Good evening, Sherry.
Uh-oh, I don't know how we're doing this one. And to call him Scuba Pete.
Scuba Pete!
And Mr. I like it. She didn't. So there you go. That was a good one. Ted Millich, good to see you, my friend. And anyone else who comes in, I try to get their names and write them down for. There's one. Look at Downside. I hope I'm saying that right because DWN side there. Downside, hello there. It is absolutely excellent to see you.
Yeah.
And I
good
hope
evening.
If I said that correctly, if not, I apologize. But
I'll kick him in the shin for you. I'm going to be honest, though. He's my Star Trek soulmate, so I'm not going to kick him hard. It's just going to be a very light kick. If he said it wrong, please let us know.
Yeah, if I said it wrong, I say things wrong all the time. Anyway, okay, that's right now. That's as many as we have right now. Anyone else pops in, I'll definitely will get shout outs when we can, because we're going to start our mission for this evening. We have 4 episodes. And I'm always saying it right. Thank you so much. You are too kind. It is great to see you here. Great to see you all here. So my first officer now will explain basically what we do here and where she gets her info. So, well, take her out, number one.
Well, folks, if you've never been here before, let me extend a very warm welcome to the 735 Club. That's what we do around here. All 735 iterations or episodes or however you want to refer to it, 735 times we got to watch real Star Trek. 1966 to 2005, obviously, technically 1964. So that's TOS 79 plus 6, TAS 22, TNG 178 plus 4, DS9 176, Voyager 172, and Enterprise 98. That makes up the 735 times that we got to watch glorious, glorious, real Star Trek. That's what we focus on around here. And we're going through it in chronological order. And so we started with TOS. We did all 79 plus 6. Those are the movies. And then we did TAS. And of course, that was 22. And now we're in TNG. And we're at season 3. And we do 4 episodes every week. And we do a review. But our reviews are different than what you're going to see on other shows or other podcasts. We don't do a formal review. We actually use a wonderful vetted text so that we can avoid fan lore and factoids. We can make sure that we're delving into vetted material so we know that it's truthful. It's not this user-generated stuff you get off the internet. And we're getting these wonderful summaries, and we're getting all of this inside information that we may or may not have known about before, as well as verifying and dispelling some of the things that you have read on those user-generated sites. And we do that with this book. For TNG, Star Trek 365, The Next Generation by Paula M. Block. She gets a little help from her husband, Terry J. Erdman, and this book has been blessed by the great Ronald D. Moore. And the reason why I say she gets a little bit of help from her husband, Terry J. Erdman, is because Paula M. Block is a prolific writer for Star Trek. She writes excellent, excellent books. She goes directly to the source. She's not out on the internet using Wikipedia or anything like this. She goes and gets the real source materials from the actors, producers, directors, people involved with the show, and that makes her coverage very exciting, sometimes controversial, but very exciting. So that's what we do. And this week we're starting with The Vengeance Factor, season 3, episode 9. You would have watched this episode on November 20th, 1989. And if you're following along with us, we are on the page number 129. Now, often you're going to hear me say things like the brick or the block number. And that's because if you buy this book to follow along with us, or just because you love what you hear me say, or the way that I describe the beautiful photographs and visuals therein, one thing you're going to know right away: this is not a book you want to open and close a lot, because it is a very frail book. And the reason why it's frail is the spine is under tremendous pressure because it's the shape of a cinder block. So, yeah, you might hear me say that, and it's not because I'm nuts, but just because it doesn't feel like a page. It feels more like you're reading from a small tile on one side and a beautiful visual on the other. And that's it.
Hello, Narada Maxamanda Bear. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I read extemporaneously because I don't have time to polish my speech. So if I make a mistake, don't throw fruit at me. Without further ado, let's get into The Vengeance Factor, season 3, episode 9. From we first watched it November 20th, 1989, on block or page number 129. Captain Picard attempts to reconcile the inhabitants of Akamar 3 with the Gatherers, a group of renegades that broke off from the Akamarian society a century earlier. Although both sides express tentative interest in reuniting, the peace talks grow complicated when Riker discovers that the Akamarian woman he's fallen in love with is actually an assassin who lives only for revenge against a faction with the Gatherers. In love? Did Paula just say that he was in love with her? Whoa. Let's keep going. In Hollywood, the infamous 6 degrees of separation is shorter yet. The Vengeance Factor was written by Sam Rolfe, who co-created the popular television series Have Gun Will Travel in 1957.
Man from Uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That series helped to establish the reputation of up-and-coming writer Gene Roddenberry, who wrote 24 episodes. In 1964, Rolfe developed The Man from Uncle for MGM, created the show's Bible, and wrote a series pilot. The tongue-in-cheek spy show was extremely successful, but Rolfe, feeling he'd given it what he could, opted to leave after one season. Not long after, Herbert Solow, vice president of Desilu Studios, hired Rolfe to write a pilot script. In a return to his roots, Rolfe created a western, The Long Hunt of April Savage. The project looked promising. ABC agreed to finance the pilot, but Rolfe, who had already made plans to spend the next year in London, couldn't stick around to produce it. That job went to an associate of Solow, who coincidentally Rolfe knew quite well. That was Gene Roddenberry. The pilot never went to series, but Roddenberry went on to create Star Trek, and Rolfe, after he returned from London, created a few more series. By the time The Next Generation hit the airwaves, Rolfe was in his 60s and working only when he felt like it. Invited to contribute a script to the series created by his old friend, Rolfe delivered The Vengeance Factor, a story set in the 24th century that feels like it might have worked equally well as a Western. 4 years later, Rolfe responded to a request from another former colleague now associated with Star Trek, Uncle veteran Peter Allen Fields. Rolfe soon delivered what would be his final script, the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode Vortex. Opposite. So now it's describing the picture herein. The eerie backdrop seen behind the plundered Federation science outpost was originally painted for the classic 1956 movie Forbidden Planet. How did it wind up on a TNG set? We rented it, explains Michael Akuta. I saw it in a catalog, and I'd been lobbying production engineer Richard James to use it on the show for some time. He was perfectly willing to go along, so long as we used it for an appropriate episode or setting. And turning the page, that is all the block text has to say about the vengeance factor. Clobby, what did you think of this coverage, and what did you think of the episode?
Interesting coverage, because I don't know whether I just sometimes blank out on the credits and stuff and don't really see them and look into them later, because like you say, we just watch episodes and we go, as you like to say, extemporaneously. I didn't know about Sam Rolfe being involved. This kind of figures. Of course, I love both Have Gun Will Travel and The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very interesting about the coverage. I thought the episode was it was kind of, there was some old school Trek vibes to it in terms of its ideas and the plot and everything. I found this to be a fairly decent episode. I wasn't really 100% in love with how it was handled, but at least it's kind of a Trek story. It's kind of the old, kind of a throwback type of thing that, like, well, as your coverage mentions, something they would have done either in a Western or maybe in an old episode of Trek.
Yeah.
In terms of the ideas for the class. So, and the idea of them trying to bring those, I really like the very science fiction idea of trying to bring those clans back together with their people on that planet after those people had advanced and stuff. So I find it to be a fairly interesting episode. I'm not really super, if you pardon the pun, in love with the idea of the Riker kind of relationship with Uta.
It's okay. The Decker unit wasn't in love, despite Paula M. Block's assertions. He didn't look in love to me. However, Wolfie has some comments on that aren't fit for me to repeat, but they're certainly in the chat for your enjoyment.
I love the lady. I always thought she was really who plays Uta, Lisa Wilcox. So I thought she was
Lisa Wilcox.
She's a hottie.
Yeah, she's beautiful,
beautiful lady and stuff. All in all, I'm not badly disposed to the episode, although it's fairly interesting idea. They keep it flowing pretty well. Some of the stuff, what's the guy's name? I can't remember the character's name, the obnoxious dude that actually agrees to bring Picard to the bargaining table with his people, who I like the way he pushes Wesley around a little bit. It was kind of he's not mean. He's
Joey
just like
Oresco.
Yeah, that guy. I always like that guy.
Yeah,
and the way he kind of, he actually treats Wesley the way guys treat each other for a change. You're just kind of like, this. He's not horrible to him, but he kind of just treats him like one of the guys and stuff. They never do that. The rest of the crew, you ever notice, they coddle him and they try to treat him like he's an adult. He's like, "Yeah, kid, shut up, sit down. Let me see. So what are you reading there, kid?" Some of that stuff with him aggravating Wesley was kind of funny. Maybe it's because I've always wanted to aggravate Wesley.
Well, for me, I'm a nerd. But like, there are a lot of nerds who are headbangers, like metalheads. And so for me, like when I look at Brawl, and I and I look at the Gatherers, the first thing I think is, oh look, the failed '80s hair metal band. So I kind of liked the way that they roped in these secret nerds that exist in the headbanger community. I mean, a lot of headbangers don't just listen to heavy metal. They listen to classical music.
Right.
They read classical literature. They love Star Trek. And so I loved that it was a nod to all those guys who had the giant hair, the great leather jacket, and still watched Star Trek and probably read Don Quixote and also listened to Ozzy Osbourne. So I loved it. I thought that I loved Brawl as well. I thought Brawl was
I liked Brawl.
Wonderful.
I liked Brawl because he was just kind of, he was actually, I liked him because at first he could have easily been just a jerk, just a lowlife, but he actually, because he has a couple of scenes, even with Wesley there, they fleshed him out as a very, I think very well thought out character.
Yeah.
So Brawl's good. Uta, again, the actress is really good. I think it's a fairly solid, decent episode story. Not one that really, turning back flips over, but for the most part, don't have a lot really of deep criticisms of it. I'll say some hellos really quickly. The great The AKA DD Myers is in the Catman's here. Hello
Hey,
there.
Didi.
Good to see you. The Captain Deckard, Rep Spock, what's up, buddy? And Mega Cropper have all popped in, and we are absolutely thrilled to see you. Thank you for being here. So on balance, I find it to be a fairly interesting episode at the end there, though. And well, I'll do this so you can do your notes. At the end there, when was it really necessary for Riker to vaporize the woman?
Oh my gosh. Like everyone at home, everyone always talks, including my husband, about how you and I are like so simpatico. There are times, there have been many times in our friendship over the last almost 2 years where you literally say everything that I want to say, and sometimes the things you say are nearly identical to my notes. And it's crazy because for folks at home, Claudia and I, in order to keep this show fresh, we don't discuss the episodes prior to the show, and we don't tell each other what our ratings are or what we think,
right.
because we want to keep it organic and we want to keep it fresh. We don't want to do that sort of thing. We want to keep this as live and as extemporaneous as possible. Keep it fresh as a daisy. And Claudia, you've ripped my notes right out of the book, and you're reading off of them. Eric K does that to me too.
Go for it with the notes then. There you go. A good seg to the notes. Excellent.
Okay, so my first note is, and if you're wondering at home what my notes are, I rewatch Star Trek every single year from beginning to end, and I do it within a year. We can't do that on the show, but that's what I do every single year starting on January 1st. So I decided my contribution to this show would be that I would take notes, just of little bits and bites and tidbits that I know to be true and things that I think about the episode. So that's what Clubby means when he says notes. So anyways, here's what I wrote down while I was rewatching it. The failed 80s hair metal band. And then, of course, I have in yelling all caps, Porkies, Maruk, Nancy Parsons, Porkies. And so everyone, of course, who is Gen X knows that is the Porky's gym teacher. And then my next note is the Decker unit strikes again. And then I wrote down, why not just stun Yuta unconscious? Why vaporize her? Was it totally necessary?
They all just sat there and watched it like, oh, well.
I know. Like, and
let it happen.
Well, and something I have to ask too, because remember, I'm a nerd, I'm an academic, I'm not a geek, and so therefore I don't really know a lot about the weapons and the ships. I just don't. But I wasn't even aware that a phaser could do that sort of thing. So there are sometimes in some episodes where things happen where, like, imagine like standing up in a Jeffries tube and things like that, where the person who wrote the script isn't aware of the Star Trek universe. So I just always thought that it was terrible in this episode that they vaporize Yuta, and in so doing, it makes it like a Klingon disruptor, and you almost want to hear the person crying out while they're being killed. So I just think that it's overly violent and a misuse of the phaser. Especially because Gene Roddenberry didn't want it to even be like a full-blown weapon.
We've seen people phasered and disintegrated.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it just sort of seems contradictory and violent.
Oh, I gotcha. Right.
Yeah. So anyways, and especially because, like, we know it's actual fact, it's not rumor, that Gene Roddenberry wanted them at this point to keep on evolving. Like, the phasers are continually evolving to be less deadly and to look less weapon-like and less pistol-like. So I just thought that it was weird that well, obviously, it's because Sam Rolfe is from Have Gun Will Travel. And now that I've learned that, now I understand why, because this was meant to feel like a Western. And I think it makes sense now that I've read the block text.
If she had a weapon shooting it at him or something like that, might be a little bit different. He could have used a thunder.
Yeah, exactly. And then I put down a great story that needed double the time to flesh out. Yeah. And there is some bad acting. So that's all I have in my notes.
Again, this is it is though. It is a Trek story though. It really, it has a lot of elements you would see in the Trek story. The whole point of dealing with the past history of this planet, who they broke off into pieces. They had a lot of their people went up their own way, and they became marauders and things like that. And now they need help dealing with them, and the
Yeah.
Enterprise comes along to help them try to negotiate a peace between them, bring them back. There's a lot of Trekness there. How just if like a whole bunch of people left the Earth, it's very similar. And then you want to get us all, humanity all back together. I like that element of it.
Yeah, me too.
I like some of the characterization that we just talked about. I like Brule for some reason, and and Utah. I just don't see any reason why she
Yeah,
had to be
vaporized.
vaporized. I don't know. And Picard just watched it like, oh wow, number one. I suppose if you can't have it, no one can. Someone said in the chat. So I don't really get that, but I find it to be overall a pretty good episode. What would be your rating on the Vengeance Factor?
Unfortunately, because of the bad acting, and that incident where it feels like Riker is holding a Klingon disruptor, and it sort of seems nonsensical that he would vaporize this beautiful young woman who he was going to deck her unit all day long. I got to give it a D. It's not my favorite episode. I don't really dislike it a lot, but it's just, I don't know. You want me to be 1000% honest at the risk of sounding a bit like a nincompoop? I think if I would have known all these years that Sam Rolfe wrote this and that he was a writer for Have Gun Will Travel, I think I would have given it a much higher rating because it does have that Western feel to it. But I can only say that in retrospect. I have to go with what I said.
Yeah, well, Roddenberry was a writer for it too. He wrote more episodes, almost as many as Rolfe did. He wrote about 20 through 23. Rolfe was one of the creators of that show, but
you really feel Western in this one once you figure out that it is Western. Whereas Gene Roddenberry, you only sometimes feel Western, and the rest of the time you feel very Isaac Asimov, very otherworldly and reaching toward utopia. So, great job by Sam Rolfe, and evidently a great writer who I think I have to say he probably needed double the time to make this particular story work.
Yes, we've seen that. We've seen that a lot, and he probably would have made it work a little bit better without some of the scenes with Riker and Uda, to be honest. But I'm going to go with basically a C because we really do beat up on a lot of episodes this season and last season, and when I don't think it might be higher actually for me a little bit if it wasn't actually. I should have probably said like a C- or something like that, but I probably add a minus to it because I really found it disturbing that he vaporized it for no reason that I could see. So anyway, but anyway, I'm gonna go C-. I guess
it was upsetting, and it was very cold-blooded and unnecessary. But if Sam Rolfe did not have the same aspirations as Gene Roddenberry, you can definitely rationalize how he brought this sort of death to bear, because in a gunfight, you don't die, and her hands were at that point weapons, and she needed to be stopped. So if you're not a regular Star Trek person and you're from the outside, and you're coming from a strong writer background, authorial background that's in Westerns, I can't fault the guy. It's a great story. It's just, it's a little un-Star Trek, and it makes me feel like he's holding a Klingon disruptor, and it's really sad.
Well, you could have at least found a narrative excuse for her to have to be vaporized. In other words, she can't be stopped. If you write it into the story where she can't be stopped by a stun, heavy stun, but that was not the case that I remember. But and by the way, Ted Millett, I see what you mean by Have Gun Will Travel. Reminds you of Stand By Me when he sings the song. But by the way, Have Gun Will Travel is the greatest Western of all time. Fight me. But anyway, Western TV show. All right, so you go with a D. I go with a C. I'm going with a C-. Now I will ask our wonderful chat. Please give your rating of the Vengeance Factor and any comments you might have. Go.
6. I'm so sorry to disappoint you. Yeah, I did give it a D, just because I just find the killing of Utah to be unnecessarily brutal and very un-Star Trek like. again, it's you know, a big part of that is reconciling the fact that Gene Roddenberry was trying to turn the phaser into a non-weapon at this point. So it's like we're slowly getting more humanitarian, and he just should have stunned the crap out of her, and she should have gone to jail for her crimes.
I would think so. Yes. Okay, here we go. We got some about our first ratings coming in. C plus. Excuse me, for Mega Cropper. Sorry, everyone. Hang on a second.
Thanks, Mega Cropper.
Thank you, Mega Cropper. Raymond, our Feliciano says, B. Decker unit falls in lust. No,
Yes.
hold on.
Yeah, not love,
Has
lust.
awkward moment with Counselor Obvious. Finds out that it squeezes a killing machine.
Yeah.
And he kills the killer. Yet, for
Mhm.
the intrigue, it was a decent episode. Yes.
I gotcha. I feel you.
Yep. I hear you. I hear you for sure. Sandra says, B. The episode shows how hate can destroy people. Picard wanted to stop the Raiders. He didn't
Yeah.
care about the planet.
Yeah.
Riker tried to stun, and it didn't work because of her alteration. Okay. That's fair enough.
Okay.
I don't know. I think they may have found a better way to explain that, but I'm with
Yeah.
Sandra.
Yeah.
I'll go with Sandra now, but there you go. I trust Sandra's judgment on that. Snorta Poopa Skimmer says, C. The Gatherers remind me of cheap space pirates from a computer game, and while the savage junk from all over space, while they scavenge junk from all over space, they failed to take Wesley, an obvious oversight. Yeah, that's the worst.
Love his snort.
I like the way he pushed Wesley around for some reason.
Yeah, it's great.
Worf, your ambushes would be more successful if you had bathed more often.
Yeah.
Yep. Suddenly Worf thinks bathing is a good idea. Yeah, that's true. Conspiracy, he thought swimming was too much like bathing.
Yes. Well, that's that Western coming through, and that's what I mean. Like, I think Snorty, I think that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Like, think about that, so that, like, in a Western, that would be definitely something you would say, and see how it's just a little unlike Star Trek, just like the killing of Utah. So I read you loud and clear. I was seeing all those same things after learning this is a Western writer.
You could have blasted it a couple of times with stun and had everyone get out of the room. They're all just sitting there like, so,
Yeah.
Anyway, Riker exacts vengeance for Troy having snoo with Raul in the last horrible episode. Thanks for reminding me of that episode.
The price.
By trying to seduce Utah. When it doesn't work, he vaporizes her problem. So fair enough.
I agree with Raymond Feliciano. That is definitely worth a chin scritch or two, or maybe three, one for each entry.
Indeed. Kal-El says, C. It was a fairly good episode with interestingly implemented classic Trek concepts. Overall, very entertaining and a solid episode. Indeed.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Good one, Kal-El.
Kirk. A 7.8 members of Clan Trilesta out of 7. Out of 10, rather. Yes. The episode is pretty decent, but I can't help think that the virus was entirely too convenient.
Yeah.
By the way, that was something I wanted to mention. Wouldn't the transporter spot the virus? I forgot something. Michael Piller and Michael Wagner are still working on the show at this point, right?
Michael Piller. Yes, he's still working. And Yes, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
There's an episode of Probe that the show that they worked on, Isaac Asimov's Probe, that I dearly love. But this reminds, that's the whole idea with the virus specific to an individual via DNA.
Mm-hmm.
They did it on Probe first, those same two guys. And I'm seeing a lot of things now. I'm realizing, hey, they did that on Probe.
Yeah.
Oh, so anyway, I know no one knows what the show is, but I love it. Zathras says, B. Would have given higher rating if Wesley would have jumped in from in front of Utah and save us all. Zathras has spoken. Yes, sir. I'd have given it a bunch of A's, buddy. Max says C minus, 6 out of 10. What's that? Parthas?
Yeah, Parthas a la Utahs. That's the dish she makes for the Decker unit while she's trying to seduce him.
That's okay. Yeah, I did not. I forgot about all that. I forgot what it was called. I was just looking at her. But there
That's
you go.
okay.
This was a fundamentally good Trek episode, but sadly, it's like George Takei's privates after a strenuous workout. Quite cheesy. Wow. I know nothing of his privates, but I will take your word for it, brother.
Oh, Max.
Oh, number one, it's time for our wonderful friend Jill. Go for it.
Hello, gorgeous. Everyone, meet our friend, anti-derivative Jill. Many of you are geeks. She is a fellow nerd. I love her very much. She is going to say a whole bunch of nerdy stuff because we have breached the 4-parter. We're into the 5-parter, so this is technically
An
an
Eshpick.
Esh pick.
Yeah.
Jill is giving this episode a C. She says this episode promotes the idea that it is a good idea to overrun a society's culture and project your own onto it just because they are being a nuisance. 2 of 5, Jill says, however, if I overlook it and focus on the interaction between the two groups, I also see it as a positive promotion of negotiation, especially at the end when the two leaders finally talk. Yeah, I agree, honey. 3 of 5. Riker's affection for Yuta directly relates to the climax.
So to speak.
Is that a double entendre,
I
Jill?
don't know.
You big nerd. But I wish they'd just beam her so she could actually answer for her crimes. Yeah, I totally agree. And so does Clobby. That was overly violent for no reason. 4 of 5, Jill says, this is why I love Star Trek. Even after it's revealed she's a murderer, the script continues to humanize her in the speech she has with Riker about her life as a servant. Yeah.
Yes.
5 of 5, Jill says, however, the resolution was rushed and easier than reality would allow. It doesn't consider that often the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The gatherer's agreeableness was just lucky. Honey, can you do me a favor, you beautiful nerd? Just stand up and take a bow. That was a great review. Love you, love you.
And now we have our good buddy, Enigmatic Drop Bear. Enigmatic Drop Bear. Go for it. Go for it.
Enigmatic Drop Bear, good to see you. Just under an Esh pick. Enigmatic Drop Bear is dropping the mic on this one and saying C+. Another allegory about the folly of violent conflict and the virtues of benevolent mediation. The main plot, a conflict between political factions, is juxtaposed with Yuta's vendetta subplot. 2 of 4, Enigmatic Drop Bear says, these plot lines fell apart thematically because whilst the factional dispute was being resolved through dialogue and peaceful mediation, Riker resolved the clan dispute by an act of violence. Yeah, exactly. 3 of 4, the execution of a plot convenience in any way because Yuta had an opportunity to execute Chorgon, or is it Korgon? I can't remember. No, it's Korgon, prior to Riker et al. Discovering her as a murderer. Yeah, it's true. 4 of 4. This episode had other problems. The characters were poorly developed and the story didn't put anything significant at stake for any of the parties. Yeah. Stand up
Well
and take
done.
a bow. Very salient points, extremely well wrought
Yes.
feedback. And I completely agree on everything you said. And it's terrific. I love it. Mwah,
Well
mwah.
done, EB. Thank you as always for that one. The Catman, aka D Minor, says, Clubby, it's a D minus minus. It truly sucked hardcore. Wow, didn't like that one, did you? And also adds, could not stay interested in it. I got you covered.
I got you.
I hear you.
I feel you.
Let's see here. Phantom Outsider. I got to find your first one, bro. Where's Phantom Outsider's first one? Man, I'll find you, man. Interesting. I can't. Oh, there you are. No. That's weird. I'm trying to find your first one, Phantom. I found your second one. Give me a second, folks. Sorry about that. This happens sometimes.
Riker sampled her Parthas. Long time. Oh, you guys are so cute.
Oh, here we go. I got you. Sorry about that, Phantom. I just, you know how lysdexic I am. Let's see here. C for Phantom Outsider. Someone stands up to Wesley post coitus disintegration is a standard Deckard unit operating system. Riker could have simply picked her up and put her over his shoulder and removed her from the room. I mean, yeah,
He
kind
could have
of.
also given her just a good spanky.
Yeah, he probably did. But oh, I thought you mean Ben. I'm sorry. But
Just
so
going
yeah,
along.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the deal is on that one. I don't know why the bunch of guys could have subdued her. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
remember her hands would only affect
Mhm.
one of 1 million's aliens,
Mhm.
right? So it wouldn't hurt anyone else. It was a designer virus, really. There was like for one person. Yuta had told him how to properly prepare Gorn eggs, so he no longer needed her. Decker unit can fall in love faster than the Ilea unit.
Yeah. What good Phantom Outsider? You are on fire tonight. Oh, so good.
There was a malfunction of the phaser. It was set to Wesley. There was no inquest. She could only hurt that one guy. No one saw that bit survives. Sad. That's a good point, brother.
You are so funny. There's probably like 15 layers of Easter eggs in these comments, Phantom Outsider. I need to send you a gift for these comments. I love it. I love it. Mwah,
Yeah.
mwah.
We'll find out where I am now. I think I saw.
Right, Wolfie? Gorn eggs. And now it's just the beginning of the rant.
Now, right, the Maximander says, I also give it a D. To me, it was just kind of boring. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
D.D. Myers agrees with you there, Narot.
Absolutely.
He also found it boring.
Got a lot of D's going on here. Eric K says C. Was a good concept, but Riker picking up a girl half his age, creepy. She was kept, well, she turned out to be like way, way older, but that's beside the point. She looked, I know what you're saying. Remember she started like hundreds of years old or 100-something years old or whatever? 50, I don't forget what it is. She was kept young by vengeance. Come on. Maybe they should have used clone or escaped passing the virus on. Yes. I understand.
And for all women out there who think that Star Trek nerds and geeks are creeps, listen to this Eric K. fellow. Isn't he wonderful?
Eric's the man.
Yeah, he goes against all of these stereotypes. What a gentleman. What a sweet and wonderful man he is. Yeah, grown-up men belong with grown-up women. I love you, Eric K.
She didn't seem that young looking to me, but I hear you. I mean, I don't know.
Eric is right. Like Star Trek has a long tradition of pairing couples where they're virtually the same age. And what's really great is all these Star Trek nerds and geeks find all of these women incredibly sexy. They don't have to, like, in the filth, everyone looks like they're 18 years old.
Yeah, everyone does. That's right.
Yeah, but like in our Star Trek, it's okay that Beverly Crusher isn't, freshly 18 years old. She's a beautiful woman who can have a conversation with a man and is accomplished and loving and kind. And yeah, anyway, Eric K. is an exemplification of what the true Star Trek geeks and nerds, what true Trekkies are all about. And I love you so much, Eric. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Mrs. Dadman Walking says, D, I dislike Riker almost as much as Wesley. Oh, that's a lot. Biggest problem I had was killing Yuta. Could he just grab her? If stun did not work, well, we'll say I did like the interaction with Brule and Wesley. Yeah, even I liked it, and I hate Wesley. 6 says, I'm giving it a C+ because even though I'm not familiar with the episode, I trust Raquel and Clobby. Don't trust us. Yeah, but I don't even trust us. Just kidding.
Well, that's high praise.
We appreciate that, by the way. 6. I give it higher than they did because Riker is super hot, and that's the screenshot we're looking at. That's fair enough. 6. I love you, 6.
I love how 6 is
awesome.
Just objectifying Riker at this point. It's terrific. Yes. I absolutely love it.
Stop being toxic, 6.
Continue being toxic, 6.
Max Redstone says, addendum. Having seen a video of a man capturing an alligator with a recycling bin, Riker's solution for is forever deemed inexcusable. Yes.
That's actually, you're joking around, but what a profound characterization of what he did, Max. I love that. Yeah, when a man is willing to fend off an alligator with a garbage bin, why is Riker vaporizing Utah in front of just a bunch of stunned people who are supposed to be in charge and their mouths are open, just
He's
so
just
yeah.
a damn sissy, that Riker. Wolfie762 says, rating C, Utah has a microvirus. So viruses are already the smallest form of life we know. Now it's even smaller. Not sure why this isn't getting picked up by the transporter again. It was a designer virus too, because it was for like certain DNA, people with the DNA tracked by their DNA.
Yeah.
Was Riker vaporizing her to neutralize the virus? No, because it only affects one person. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't get it either.
Yep.
Common. What? Okay. Common gatherers. It's 1989. Didn't anyone get the memo about the big hair being out? These guys fit right in with the Mad Max universe, who run Bartertown. Yes. Look, I don't know, but I hear you. They look like a hair band now that you mention it.
They totally do. Like, they failed at heavy metals, so they just became gatherers.
There you go. Yeah. But they weren't such bad blokes. C for Dabman Walking. Bad acting and Riker I hate more than West because he's all libido and no Kirk. Well, poor old Riker now getting pissed. Oh my goodness. I'm okay with the death because she was about to kill someone and ignored being shot several times and still tried to kill him. Yes, but they could. The thing is, they could have found a way to stop her. I mean, I'm for it too. If you can't stop somebody.
Dadman makes a good point too, though, because I think if her physical movement, like maybe if the actress would have like lunged a little bit more dramatically, then maybe we all would have went, oh, and then she would have been stopped. So Dadman makes a good point, but I think
you
it's
could have beamed that guy up to the Enterprise.
It's the execution.
You could have beamed what's his face to the Enterprise or something. Anyway, let's see here. Mr. Angel says, a C. Riker, how's your ex-girlfriend? Bazat. What ex-girlfriend? Can't remember the plot of it completely too long ago, but I remember enjoying the episode.
Oh,
well, there you go.
Thank you, Chef.
Regulate tomato D with a C. What's up, buddy? Let's see here. A B-, middling episode. Not terrible, but they should have found a way so that Utah wasn't disintegrated, especially since they knew she was weaponized and Spurpyized. And for me, especially because she's just hot. I mean, I think she was a good-looking woman. Did anyone want to find out how her life was extended?
Yeah.
Might be useful. Tech.
Yeah.
Would Wesley make a good Uber driver? I got to know. I've got to know. I think we're to the end of
Oh my goodness, your Muslim uncle. Good evening, fine sir, and thank you so much for this generous super chat. Clobby, look at this super chat that your Muslim uncle has sent you.
Let me see if I got all my review. Okay, I have to go to the end of it here.
It's very generous and it's giant and orange.
It's orangey. I've never seen an orange one. My chat's on the way to it there. Your Muslim uncle. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. I think we got all the reviews anyway. So what I do, your Muslim uncles, I hold the chat up so I can get all the reviews. So I'm way behind. I'm trying to get it to it now. Oh, there it is. Your Muslim uncle. Thank you so much for the 1999 super chat. You were too kind, my friend. Yeah. I just wanted to show my love and support to these wonderful hosts and this beautiful community that showed me love and support during difficult times for our family. And we're just kind and gentle, except your how do you say Maulid gift? Your Muslim uncle, sir. I cannot thank you enough. I can barely find the words, but I hope you and your wonderful family are doing well, my friend. And just as they say in your religion, peace be upon you. And thank you for so much for that. And we love it when you pop in to say hello to us.
Yeah.
And please, don't be a stranger. Always come and say hi to us when you can,
Yep.
and keep us up to date with what's going on with you and your family there, sir.
Yeah.
And
And give your
just
mom a big hug for us. You're a
yes,
good son.
yes.
And just go ahead and give your mom a huge hug and let her know that, nearly 200 people watch this show regularly. And that hug is coming from all 200 of those people. Just give her the warmest hug and let her know that we're thinking of her. And thank you so much for your generosity in supporting this channel and this show. It means a lot to us.
What I want to know is if are you like me, your Muslim uncle? Are you the cool uncle? I was always the cool uncle when my kids were when my nieces and nephews were young. I was always the one that I was the one that they hung. I'm still friends with them today, and they're all grown up. But yeah, so it's not only about being the uncle; it's about being the cool uncle. That was me.
Yes.
I don't know if you were. I don't know. Just wondering. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you. You were too kind, sir.
Well, I
Oh, we
think
have.
that they, Mark D with a C, I think that they definitely should have launched an investigation. I think that,
Mhm.
that could have been a follow-up episode. I totally agree, Mark D with a C. It was like he executed her and did it in an incredibly violent way. He used his phaser like a disruptor, and it's a shocking death.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We haven't. I didn't. I thought we were into the end of the reviews. I'm sorry if we missed anyone, but we do have Alaric Harrison who says
Oh,
C minus average episode, but I think Yuta was killed to emphasize the character had a tragic life that led to a tragic end and teach that a life based on vengeance is no life at all. Well, that could be the case, but I don't know.
yeah.
But thank you for that. I appreciate. We like all angles. We'd like to hear. That's what we do this for.
Yeah.
That's why we like to get everyone's rating and even and comments and review comments, because I'm just like hearing all the angles on it. And Michael
Yep.
Beacom, Michael Beacom says finally at home to the keyboard. Sorry, I'm like, okay, well, Michael, we appreciate you. We're about to um we were about to move on to our next episode.
Yeah.
Are we ready? Is everyone ready? Let's go
Yeah.
for it.
Is
And
everything okay, buddy?
Michael Beacom, if you want to, combine your review of this one and the last one after we get through going through the next one, feel free.
Yeah.
So,
Oh no,
well, there he is,
he's
right
got
there.
it,
Okay.
boss.
Oh, cool. There we go. Uh, oh, no, you're never late, my friend. We appreciate you seeing here. I mean, you being here. It's great to see you. C, sorry I'm late. Never apologize for that, my friend. We're just glad to see you.
Yeah.
Heard Raquel say that the writer did westerns, and that explained a lot.
It does.
In westerns, justice comes from the end of a gun.
It does.
Yes, it does, and I love westerns for it. No, I'm just kidding.
I totally agree with you, Michael. And like I said earlier to Clobby, I don't know if you heard, but if I would have known that that a Western writer was doing this, and that he had worked with Gene and things like that, I could have put it into context, and I think I actually would have had a higher review, maybe C plus. So yeah, it definitely puts things into perspective. Like Snortopupus was pointing out some of the things that I was thinking too. Do you know what I mean? Like about Brawl being stinky, and that's something that would happen in a Western, right? That you smell, you always hear in these Westerns, oh, I could smell you from downwind, when's the last time you took a bath? And then the final brutal sort of final scene, in the middle of the street, and everyone is looking on this murder that Riker does, because it's the end of the justice, and everyone is behind the saloon or on the boardwalk, and they're in the middle of the town. It once it's a Western and it's from one of Gene's colleagues from Have Gun Will Travel, boy, you can be a lot easier on the episode. So love your comments as usual, Michael Beacom, and thank you so much for that.
Ready to run to the next one? We've been on this one a long time. Well, actually a good while, but we're doing something before that. So are you ready? Are you ready? Number one.
Yes, sir. Let's stay copyright compliant. So I'll just quickly say, I'm going to read an excerpt from Star Trek 365, The Next Generation by Paula M. Block. She gets a bit of help from her husband, Terry J. Erdman. And of course, the book is blessed by Ronald D. Moore. If you're following along with us, and to also make sure we keep that citation nice and sparkly, we're on page 130, or block 130. We have arrived at The Defector, Season 3, Episode 10. We all watched this on January 1st, 1990. And many of us had to have an orange juice while we were watching it because we had too much champagne the night before. So here we are. A Romulan defector attempts to convince Picard that an invasion of Federation space by the Romulan Empire is imminent. Unfortunately, the only way to prove or disprove the Romulans' claim is to take the Enterprise across the Romulan neutral zone, an act that in itself could trigger war between the Federation and the Empire. Despite warnings from the Klingons, who have a deep distrust of the Romulans, Picard opts to cross into Romulan territory only to run into his nemesis, Commander Tomalak. And then it has a beautiful sketch by Rick Sternbach, and it shows a beautiful close-up of the scout model seen in this episode. Turning the page to 131, there is some additional information about this episode, so I'm going to read it. Basically, we threw out my first draft of The Defector and gangbanged the second draft, Ron Moore says. That's a very un-PC phrase that means the entire staff worked on the script together. But he has no regrets. Other scripts of mine went through varying degrees of rewrites, he notes, and they almost always were improved in the process. In the first draft, Data returns via the holodeck to 221B Baker Street as Sherlock Holmes. Unfortunately, following the airing of Elementary Dear Data, a misunderstanding of legal sort arose between the estate of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Paramount Pictures. The matter ultimately was resolved, thus allowing the 6th season Holmes episode, Ship in a Bottle. But Moore's teaser for The Defector had to be jettisoned only 2 days before filming was to begin. Resident Shakespearean Patrick Stewart suggested a sequence from Henry V as a replacement. As a result, Stewart appeared in the teaser in 2 different roles, as Picard, enjoying Data's portrayal of King Henry, and under heavy makeup as Michael Williams, a holographic supporting player. Moore can't help but smile when he recalls meeting Patrick Stewart for the first time. I was on set watching the bonding being shot, and they introduced him to me, he says. He was very gracious and asked me what I was writing next. I said, "Oh, it's called The Defector," and I explained that it's about this Romulan who comes across the neutral zone to warn the Federation about an impending attack. And Patrick's response was, "Oh, lovely. Well, just remember this. The captain doesn't do nearly enough screwing and shooting in this show." Wow, what a class act. Their Shakespearean actor. My goodness. I actually have heard before in other sources that he said that, and it's really gross to hear it confirmed. What the captain wants, what the captain gets. Soon he would receive more opportunities to engage in both activities, screwing and shooting. Right? Soon to be story editor Ron Moore with the new 4-foot shooting model of the Enterprise D, which was introduced in The Defector. Opposite, King Henry and Michael Williams indulge a pair of groundlings on the Paramount lot. And that is all the block text has to say about The Defector. Clobby, what did you think of the coverage, and what did you think of the episode?
That's interesting coverage. I mean, wow, dude, I don't know. He just aggravates me. Some of the things he says. It's kind of silly though. I thought the episode was okay. I mean, again, it's another one of those where I thought it was. What is forget the name of the actor who plays the Defector. I've seen that guy in a lot of stuff. Good actor.
Is it James Sloylan?
Could be. It's one of those guys. You see him in a bunch, but you don't know his name. That's not an insult to the actor. You just like you see him in a bunch. Oh, it's that guy there. That's him. It's him.
Yeah.
Sloyan. There you go.
I think that's his name. Yeah, James Sloylan. Yeah.
Yeah. He's pretty good. I think this is a fairly decent, solid drama. Again, not too far off from our last one in the sense it's a fairly decent, solid, dramatic episode that works. Mainly, his character,
Mm-hmm.
mainly what he's doing with not a lot of suspense necessarily, but I thought the episode was fairly well done, and I kind of like the thing that happened at the end there, as you see with the picture we used,
Mm-hmm.
with them turning the tables on Tomalak with the cloaked Klingon ships. On balance, again, it's not an episode that I would honestly think about a lot or think was just like super super wonderful or great or anything. I just don't have a lot of problems with it either. On balance, I find it to be fairly entertaining. So
Mm-hmm.
your notes.
Uh, my notes just say the Patrick Stewart Vanity episode. He plays Michael Williams from Henry V. So, of course, the block text already said that. And I said Ronald D. Moore wrote this, saying the Cuban Missile Crisis at the neutral zone. So that's basically how he characterizes this episode. And then I wrote in yelling all caps, Andrea!
Andreas, yeah, love that
Yeah.
actor.
So, as many of you know, I was an adopted and assimilated Greek, and I love Andrea, which is how you actually pronounce his name, and it just means Andrew in Greek. He's named after Saint Andrew. I put the host of oh yes, the comment host of Romulan cyberneticists. This is in this episode, and any of
Oh
you
yeah,
who are discussing the nature of the filth, pretending as though there were no cyberneticists. This is the episode which I remind everyone about, that there were a quote host of Romulan
exactly. Oh
cyberneticists.
yes, yes,
So rendering the filth,
the filth,
even more filthy than it
filthier
usually
than
is.
filth.
And then my next note is political stories and science fiction are not my favorite unless they decide to go towards satire. I prefer my science fiction to be about technology, aliens, the unknown, futurism, so on and so forth. I prefer this to political commentary. And
Yes, me too.
that's all I have in my notes, Captain.
Yeah, I actually agree. I'm kind of that way too. That doesn't mean it may necessarily mean if they do an episode that way that they don't. If they do it well, I mean, for example, if you take something like a Taste of Armageddon, that's an anti-war story, and it's
Hmm.
brilliant. It's beautiful, you know. And when you do stuff like that, so this, and I'm not equating this with that or anything like that, but I think this one is at least a fairly, intense drama. Again, a lot of because of this character, this Romulan wanting to defect, uh, because he at least understands what this war would do.
Hmm.
This was when they're real, before all that horrible filth stuff that did to the Romulan Empire. It was a
Hmm.
pretty strong Romulan Empire, and yet even some of the doubts that were expressed by the Romulan commander in Balance of Terra,
Hmm.
it kind of reminds me of a little bit of his concerns about such things, what kind of
That
conflict would cause,
I
and
share that synopsis, and I share that opinion. We later learned that there's this relationship betwixt the Romulans and the Vulcans, and we learned that Romulans do have more emotion, and we learned that those emotions are fiery and that they can be diabolical, but they do have a humanity where but it's an otherness, like it's almost like the Cold War. It reminds you of, oh, them on the other side of the Iron Curtain, and so on and so forth. So I really like that about this episode, that the Romulans are the way that they're portrayed. They're seen as dynamic. We see these dastardly, horrible villains in the Romulan Empire, but we also see these other people within the Romulan Empire who would like to move it forward, perhaps be a part of the Federation, and they're really caring. They're caring about people. They're caring about the entire universe, and they are capable of benevolence. They are capable of humanitarianism. They are capable of negotiation, and many Romulans aren't. And so it's showing us a dynamic society, and so I love that about this episode.
well, yes, and this is giving us probably our first time we meet a Romulan who does care.
Yeah.
I mean, the no, well, not the first, but we only get a little, tiny little
Yeah.
piece of it in Balance of Terror. But
Yeah.
that Romulan is concerned that war is going to destroy them.
Yeah.
We this is sort of like elaborating a little bit more. This is a
Yeah.
character, and I think its performance by this actor is really good. And
Yeah.
this is just basically a small character study of a Romulan like that. And
Yeah.
so I think that's what I found pretty valuable
Yeah.
and pretty interesting about this episode, which I think is a fairly solid, entertaining episode with a
Yeah.
good character.
I totally agree. My only quibble is, what a waste. Andrea is so talented. I just wish they
Yes.
would give him more screen time instead of spreading it out over. And sorry, I hate to
Yeah.
spoil it for you folks. So many episodes. I would just love to watch him sink his teeth into something.
Well, yeah.
I just
You do. It's
obviously I
just a
love
different
him.
show.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we see him in Jakar, right? But
The
it's
car's
just
so great. Yeah.
I hate to see the waste of an incredible actor. Not that James Slolin or Sloylin, I forget how you pronounce his name. I don't even know how you spell it, but I do know that he is in a bunch of stuff, and he makes such a great villain, and I think that he was put to good use here because you want to believe he's a villain, and then you find out that he's actually the victim. Spoiler
Yes.
alert! And so I think that they use him to good effect. But I just, I'm a huge fan of Katsulas, and I would love to see him used a lot more and get a lot more screen time. But that's my only gripe.
Thank you for that, Captain Decker, dude. We had such a blast reviewing the original series. I miss being able. I almost want to go and do it over again, but we had to move forward the other shows. We like the other shows too, but we're original series babies here. But yeah, so I think it's a decent episode. What would be your rating, number one of the Defector?
Well, this one isn't without its problems. There's a little bit of cleanup that it requires. It's not perfect, but it is wildly entertaining and has a whole bunch of my favorite people in it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a B.
Well, again, we get the same rating very often. I've got a B. I think it's a solid B. And by the way, that's certainly not a knock to the episode. For me, that's a high rating. Because here's the thing about it. And rightly so. We have beat the hell out of some episodes in this Next Generation.
We have.
First two, and even some of the third season. So when they do something that is Trekish and that is good and entertaining, it's going to seem like, oh, only a B. No, it's pretty high rating considered to some of the things we've seen. So yeah, it's a couple of B's here. Now, my wonderful chat, please give us your rating of the Defector and any comments you might have. Go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Mr. Tickle Trunk,
Well,
welcome.
hello there,
it's so good to see you.
Mr. Tickle Trunk. And thank you for the $5 super sticker. You are too kind, sir. Thank you so much.
That's a man who knows how to enter a room. Thank you so much for supporting Clubby's channel and for supporting this show. And what a wonderful way to walk into a room. Completely unnecessary and very much appreciated. Thank you so much, Mr. Tickle Trunk.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. Let's see here. So I think, and I hope I'm starting in the right place. If you guys make sure that I am, or help me out. Alara Harrison says B+. Like all the characters, like them working, Tomahawk into TNG series. He makes a great Romulan commander, and any episode that has both Romulan warbirds and Klingon warships is a bonus. Nerd eye candy. Yes,
great
indeed.
Comment. Great comment.
Indeed. Raymond says, hey, I love the recurring chess game between the Romulans and Federation. Yeah. Plans and traps around the Enterprise incident. All of this effort to discredit an officer and trap the Federation. Wow. Yes. Well said, Raymond, as always. C- for Mrs. Dadman Walking.
Yeah.
I think it's a minus, or unless it's a separator. I'll go with minus, but if not, you can let me know, Mrs. Dadman. Character depth and the plot twist at the end was interesting. Did not rate higher because I overall found the show kind of boring. Fair enough?
Yeah, it moves a little slowly, and I do agree. Like I believe that science fiction chiefly should help us sort of reconcile our fear of the beyond and technology and its effect on us, and science and medicine and their effects on us. So it's a little too political for me. So I totally agree with you, Mrs. Dadman. It's not a perfect episode, is it? Even though you want it to be.
Yep. Sometimes when they put politics, but they more reflect, even if they're kind of speaking to what we have now, like a sort of an allegory for what we have now, but they're still more like 24th century politics. I don't mind it as much.
Yeah,
you do it well. B from Mega Cropper. And here we go. Number one, we have our good buddy, Enigmatic Drop Bear. Go for it.
Hello, Enigmatic Drop Bear. We have 1 of 4, so we've got a 4-parter here, and he's going to go ahead and give this episode an A. He says, Shakespeare's Henry V provided the episode's thematic underpinning. The admiral passing as a lowly officer, his divided obligations to sovereign duty and a higher ethical consideration. And higher ethical considerations, I beg your pardon. Yes, Enigmatic Drop Bear. Indeed. 2 of 4. He says, unlike the last episode, this story was tight, well-paced, and set on an epic scale with a great cast of characters. Totally agree. 3 of 4. In the end, we're left to ponder the ambiguity of Jiroc's selfless yet ultimately futile act. Yeah, it's really scary, isn't it? 4 of 4. Minor criticism with Jonathan Frakes acting. His impatience seems a little forced and at times his gruffness a little misplaced. The arrival of the Klingon cavalry was a little too convenient too. Yeah, it's not perfect. And yeah, I do agree with Mrs. Dadman walking. It's slow in some places too, where you're like, oh,
although
we could have used this time a little bit more judiciously, I think.
Picard did, they did come up with that idea. They just they didn't really arrive. They'd been there for a while, but yeah, really set that up. Snortapubus Cuba says B+. High-level interstellar tensions abound with plenty of twists and turns. Romulans and Klingons. Tomalak is back, and Jiroc is an interesting character as well. Picard actually shows some backbone. Yeah, some of the stuff between him and Jiroc was pretty interesting too. And he's telling him, "Look, I don't believe you."
Yeah.
It was kind of tough to believe him, understandably.
Yeah.
Wolfie.
Oh my goodness! And Wolfie sent you a super chat. Wolfie. Ow, ow,
ow! Oh, I'll get to it as soon as I can. Like I said, I can't move my chat because I will. It'll. I have to stay where I am so I can read everyone's reviews. But I'll get there. Thank you so much, Wolfie. Let's see here, and someone else did too, I think, or was it Wolfie?
Yeah, there was another one as well. I think it was RK.
I'll get to him as soon as I can. I promise. I have to hold my chat. I have to freeze my chat. Don't let me forget him. Wolfie says 1 of 4 rating A-. Holy green Romulan poops! Now this is where TNG starts to stand on its own legs in the Trek universe. Can you tell that Ron Moore is involved yet? Yeah, that's a good point, Wolfie.
It is. And we got rid of Hurley.
No more Hurley. A great use of Klingons as allies in the TNG era. Holy crap. Is that a new model of the Enterprise? Probably not a bad idea, since the other model is like 12 foot long and cumbersome to shoot.
Yeah, just so you know, that is actually true. So let's just stop there. This is the time when they went from that giant one. Wasn't it like 6 feet though, down to a 4. I think they go to a 4, and it's right around this time. It's one of the episodes. Is it this episode? I'm not sure. Anyway, that Wolfie, you're not just talking out your butt there. That you're onto something. They do switch to a 4-foot model in and around this time. I think it's between now and the next 2 or 3 episodes. I'll look it up for you. But yes, they shrink the model so that it's easier to film. Brilliant addition to the show, Wolfie. Thank you.
He also says there is an establishment, probably by accident, that the Klingons have a much larger version of the bird of prey, Cabort cruiser, than attacks with the wings. They were a bit big, weren't they? Weren't they? That's a good point there, Wolfie.
Yep.
The acting by James Sloyan is fantastic and moves the Romulan universe along with a dose of humanity. Yes, that is a very good point. Let me get back up to where I'm trying to find out where I was. Let's see. Sorry, I'm getting there, folks. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Khalil says B+. I enjoyed this episode as it shows the Romulans, the defector anyway, as an honorable people who don't always want war. The way the tables were turned on Tomalak at the end was great. I
Mhm.
do agree with that, Kal-El. I like that a lot. JT Kirk says, A minus. This is a top 25 episode for me. Lots of action, expansion of the lore about Romulans, and the acting was simply great. This
Yep.
episode sets the stage for lots of great future episodes.
You
And
got it, JT.
absolutely, JT. Let me get to you and find your other one.
D-Bud just put in the chat, just matter of factly, Kirk was the cavalry.
Yep.
Love you, D-Bud.
He was indeed. That's right, buddy. My only quibbles are with Counselor Obvious and Decker Unit giving an interrogation was a bit unbelievable. Oh, that was.
Yeah.
Only a Varul would allow that incompetent Varul pair to lead that effort. Yeah, Varul indeed. They were a couple of Varuls.
Someone get Counselor Cameltoe and the Decker Unit in here.
Well done.
We
Well
have
done,
we need to do an interrogation.
Indeedishness. The Catmanic AD Myers says, Clobby, I give it a C plus. Very interesting episode. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
There you go. Indeed. Thank you so much, Catman.
Thanks,
I really
Dee Dee.
appreciate you. Thank you so much, Dee Dee. The great Eric K says B. Loved Andreas as Tomalak again. I do not understand P-hard treatment of Xerox. You're a traitor. Not a way to get the info you want in cooperation. Yeah, he was kind of a brusque with him, wasn't he? I'm giving info to these jerks. Nope. Good
Yeah,
point.
I think that he should have said something else. Like, I think they could have massaged the dialogue here a little bit more, and they could have said something along the lines of, convince me why you would want to betray your own people in this way. Why would you flip? This goes against everything we know about your people. We're at war. But yeah, when he's like, you're a traitor, it's kind of like, really? Is that how you want to deal with talking to this guy? Don't you want information from him? Don't you want to build trust so that you can see if he's for real or not? So, as usual, I agree with Eric K.
Jill, I don't know if I see you post. You didn't. I'm trying to find if Jill wrote anything or not because I do see you're answering Michael Beacom on something. But if I missed you, Jill, make sure I haven't. I mean, if you can, I don't know if you can see that, but let me know because maybe I don't see anything back there for Jill so far. But I'm holding my chat up, so I can't really see it all. Max Redstone says B plus. 4 trips to the Valley of Chula. My biggest, the Valley of Chula, yeah. My biggest problem is the ending. I wish it wasn't so nana boo boo. Yard saying the time like, okay, kill us, then we'll kill you.
Nana boo boo in Shakespearean description, I believe is described as cocking a snook. I believe that is the Shakespearean diction for nana boo boo, cocking a snook. Although it's been a beat since I've been reading Shakespeare. I've been reading a lot of social science lately, but yeah, cocking a snook.
I don't understand any of that, fortunately. All we know what the admiral should have done with that little orange pill, Wesley. Absolutely, Max. Exactly, Max. Eric K for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate
Love
it,
you,
man.
honey.
I hope you're feeling well. Clobby says if Wesley was in charge, they would not need the Klingons to help. That's true. He would have saved everything. He'd been the bestest ever.
He would have sent in his probe.
Wouldn't have needed him at all. That's right.
He would have sent in the pimple probe and everything would have been fine.
Perfect.
I love you, Eric.
He can do it all. We can do it all. Mr. Angel says, A, finally the long-awaited fleshing out the Romulans. Picard pulling Kirk insight in the tensions between the species. Deceiving the deceivers, loved it. Well written, loved the coup, but the coup fed Klingon. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Angel. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Chef.
Michael Beacom says, B minus. Doing political intrigue, just like murder mysteries, is difficult with super technology. The whole thing's obviously a trap, but we know it is a trap.
Yes.
Find your second part here. Okay. Let's see. And so they can make it more about the people and not the strategies of political confrontation. Excellent point, sir. Absolutely.
Yes, my nerdy friend, antiderivative Jill. What you do is
Oh, there we go. I
open
got
your
it. I found
hand
it.
in front of you, spread your fingers so that they're all loose and stiff. So your hand is wide open. Stick your thumb on your nose and then wiggle your fingers. That is a na-na-na boo-boo in the United States. And cocking a snook in Shakespearean. I believe it's Shakespearean literature, but it could predate Shakespearean literature. That is cocking a snook, or the proverbial na 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 boo boo.
I don't want to live anymore. Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't even understand any of this anymore. Cocking. Oh, never mind. Dad man, buddy says B. He says B-. Just kidding. B-. It had ships shooting and blowing up, and really liked the ending with the Klingon surprise, but much in the middle was a bit dry. I'm giving it all I got, Captain, but I got nothing else. That's a good review. I mean, that's a positive review there. Sandra says, B. I had to feel bad for the defector. He thought he was stopping a war, but it turns out he was a pawn. Yeah, it was sad. It was a sad ending for sure. He would never see the daughter he sacrificed for again, and she would never know. But he did it for nothing. Yeah, it was really sad. But he said he must have known that we'd never be able to get this to her, at least not in our time, but maybe someday.
It really is a gallant thing to do,
bittersweet ending.
isn't it? Very gallant thing to do, and shows that Romulans are capable of extremely high morals and ethics to give one's own life and to tear your family apart, to save people's lives, to save millions of lives. It shows what the Romulans are capable of, and obviously goodness, a great deal of goodness.
Indeedishness, absolutely. Phantom Outsider, B. The Romulan Admiral was more human in one ep than the Decker unit has been into season 3. Romulans are supposedly logical. Seems like they wasted a lot of resources and a senior commander on. I gotta do some hunting.
Wouldn't it be great if we would have had Billy Campbell instead of Johnny Fakes?
I would have been all over it, but I would have loved it. Yeah.
Phantom Outsider.
A failed attempt to jump start a war, which is doubtful they could even win, since they'd been fighting the Federation of Klingons. Picard played poker with the Romulans. Playing poker with the Romulans was interesting. And let's see here. Whoop. I'm having some issues with my. There we go. That's okay. But Kirk used used to beat Romulans without Klingon backup. True, but he's Kirk. It's easy to be the tough guy when you have the upper hand. When did Kirk ever have a cavalry to save him? To save him behind? Well, other than his own crew, once in a while, not a lot.
Not Dee Dee Myers, D. Bud Martin and Antiderivative Jill have called you out in the chat, supporting this comment, Phantom Outsider, and I support this comment as well. Of course, D. Bud Martin saying Kirk was the cavalry, and Antiderivative Jill putting 2 exclamation points. So superfluous exclamation points saying, "Yep, good point."
Yes,
Kirk
indeed.
was the cavalry.
R.N. Baker, welcome. Thank you. It's good to see you here. Thank you for stopping in. We appreciate you. Let's see here. Now, let me go. We've got a few more. Narata Max Amanda Bear says, I give it a B+. It's good enough for me.
Okay.
Well, that's excellent. And, of course, we have, before we get to this, I want to say thank you to Wolfie, because we already did his review.
Yay,
a $5
Wolfie.
super chat from Wolfie. Thank you so much, Wolfie. Since you got about 6 million in filming models up on the screen there. Love this community so much. We love you too, man. We thank you so much for being here. You rock.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Wolfie. I always love your participation, as we love everyone's here. Go for it. Number 1, we have our wonderful friend Jill.
Oh, hello, Antiderivative Jill. And she's doing a 4-parter. And she's giving this episode an A-. And Jill says, this one had what the previous one didn't really possess: intrigue, speculation, mystery, data, learning about guts. 2 of 4. Great character interactions between the Admiral and Picard and with Data, which helps lead to the audience seeing his sincerity, but still questioning his motives. 3 of 4. Even though it ends up being a ruse against Jirac and the Federation alike, at least Picard notes the intent in bravery of his actions.
Yes.
4 of 4. Marrying Shakespeare with Picard always wins, and the surprise of the Klingons' assistance was nothing short of a fun time. What a great review.
Indeed.
Thank you, my nerdy friend.
Thank you so much. Mr. Tickletrunk says B, or is that a B minus? Sometimes I don't know if that's a separator or a B, but I'll go with B minus, but it might be a B. Loved the concept. Writing so-so, acting A plus, criminal underuse of Andreas Castellutis and James Sloyland. Well, James isn't most of the episode, but yes, Andreas, well, he's just fantastic. I've always thought James Sloyan should have had a supporting role in something. I've seen him in so much, but yet
he's like the pepper boy. You know what I mean? He just shows up at restaurants and sprinkles pepper on your food. He seems to be everywhere, but nowhere. Yeah. He's everywhere and nowhere all at once.
You know what? I know I've seen him in other stuff, but I can't really
put your finger on it.
It's strange. I have to look at his.
I agree.
His filmography or something.
Yeah.
Case in point, the defector of TNG and playing Dr. Moore. Thank you, Dr. Moore on DS9. James Sloyan.
Yeah.
Always obviously crushes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. I knew I'd seen him in something. I didn't realize. Yes, and he was great as Dr. Moore. Basically, in a sense, Odo's father.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. I appreciate it.
And he always has this tiny little bit like. He always has an aura of evil around him. Like, he plays such a great villain. If you're unsure whether or not the character is evil or good, boy, isn't he a great actor to hire for that? Because you don't know how you feel about the characters. And so he's a great villain maker, I think.
But he's also really great as a good guy in that Deep Space Nine.
He was.
In those 2 appearances, I believe, as Dr. Moore.
Yeah.
The guy's really good. So there you go. I thank you so much. I've totally forgotten that was what he was saying.
His little speech to Odo about willing him to move, willing him to live and to take shape. It really challenges whether or not you think that he's a good guy or a bad guy. And I know it definitely changes Odo's heart, because once Odo has to try and do something like that himself, he realizes how easy your actions can be perceived as evil, even though you're trying to do what's best. Anyway, that's for another day. We're gonna get to that, folks.
Be a while. We'll get there. B plus from the great Mark D with the C. I like the plot twist that the Admiral really was defecting, and that you were kept guessing until you learned Jirac was being used by the Romulans for their own devices.
Yep.
Foreshadowing unification, in that there are some Romulan generals who want peace with these well-written characters. Jirac, I will never see my child smile again. I mean, it was really well done in that respect. Yep. She will grow up believing that her father is a traitor. Yeah, but she will grow up if you act. Picard, if we stop the war before it begins. P.S. No Wesley. Was he off driving his Uber? I don't know. Was he not in that one? Good.
No, he was fashioning a pimple probe. And that's what he does. That's what he's doing in his spare time. He's working on the pimple probe.
Yes, indeed. Let's see here. I think we are ready to move on. Mega Cropper. This Mega Cropper is upgrading to an A minus. Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Fair enough, Mega Cropper. You can do that. All right. I think we got everybody. We're about ready to move on to the next one.
Yeah. And so we're going to be moving on to The Hunted, season 3, episode 11, January 8th. Pardon?
I'm just saying, making sure we got. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Thanks, honey. Yeah, so we're moving on to The Hunted, season 3, episode 11. We all watched this on January 8th, 1990. And I would be remiss in keeping with our copyright if I did not say I will be reading an excerpt from Star Trek 365 The Next Generation by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman. And of course, this book is blessed by Ronald D. Moore.
Let me answer this really since Aaron is new here. Let's show Aaron a little courtesy. Thank you so much for being here. I would like to ask you a question. Will you be covering any English science fiction on your show to the future? And thank you for reading this comment. Well, it depends on what you mean, but I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and I love Blake Seven and The Prisoner, and I'm a big fan of British science fiction. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but upgraded Mr. Tickle Trunk upgraded to a B plus, by the way. So I don't, if that's what you mean, I love a lot of British science fiction, if that's what you mean in terms of at least television and film and stuff. So I hope that answers your question. Sorry
Please
about that.
tune into Aaron Baker. I'm the co-host on this show, but Clobby is a friend of mine. So I would love to advise you to please tune into his channel proper. So just go ahead and hit sub, and then hit your notification bell, because he has an open Geek Talk night. He is a massive fan of all science fiction, including British or English science fiction, and just television and film in general. I call him a geek genius. He also has another show called Clobby's Clubhouse. And he has another show, which is a comic book night. Now, Clobby used to own a comic book store. And so, I mean, he's just, he's like, it's like knowing the curator, the librarian at the local archive. He's just fabulous. So if that is your cup of tea, wow, they're serving it by the pail on this channel.
You're too kind, number one. She's too nice. But yes, Aaron, thank you for the question. I just wanted to get that since we have never met Aaron before. So I wanted to make Aaron feel at home and do that. But thank you, number one, for that as well. But I hope that answered this question, though. So, thank you so much. Well, continue with The Hunted. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. I understand. Sometimes you read things in the chat and then it sort of seems weird if you're just listening in as a podcast, wondering why we giggle or we stop or we seem awkward. And it's because we're interacting with dozens and dozens of people at once. And I'm going to do that right now. Mr. Tickle Trunk, who is number one?
You are number 6. No, you are number 6.
All right, I'm going to read this extemporaneously. Page or block or brick 132, The Hunted. Emerging from a lengthy period of war, Angosia III applies for membership to the Federation. During a perfunctory visit from the Enterprise, a prisoner escapes from Angosia's lunar penal colony, and Picard's crew helps to capture him. But once the captain learns that the colony's prisoners are actually former war veterans who are now too violent to live among Angosian civilians, he formulates an entirely different opinion about Angosia's potential as a Federation member. Some people get a first day on a new job. Others work on Star Trek productions. Whatever. I went into the office, says Ira Stephen Bear. I said hello to Hans and Ricky, both of whom I knew. Got introduced to Richard and Melinda, walked into Michael's office, and he threw a script at me and said, "Rewrite Act 3. It was The Hunted, as I recall. I went, huh? And he said, just rewrite it and have it on my desk by this evening. So I ran around asking everyone to help me. I mean, it was my very first day, and everyone else was too busy to really help. Bear was hardly a neophyte. He was a veteran writer and producer on Fame and the Bronx Zoo, and he certainly knew his way around a production office. But TNG was ... different. It was a mess. Bear says frankly, they were behind. They had nothing in the hopper. Yes, I'm always reminding people of this. Hurley made sure that there were no scripts. So I love that Stephen Bear is, or Stephen Bear, yeah, Ira Stephen Bear is verifying what I always tell people. The writing staff was miserable. Eventually, everything just cooled out and the show got some stability. Luckily, Act 3 of The Hunted was basically a giant chase scene through the Jeffries tubes. Yeah, on your feet. Big action without much character stuff. I was able to write it with no idea what I was doing. I gave it to Michael, and he said, "Great, fine, terrific." Then he threw another script at me and said, "Rewrite Act 3. Opposite. Just as guest actors are sometimes recast, so are ship's models. Oh, Wolfie, are you listening? Wolfie, listen.
Yeah, Wolfie's right there. Yeah.
Okay, The Hunted features a small Angosian transport vessel. Oh, no, okay, I thought it was going to reveal that. I guess it's just going to talk about the Angosian vessel. Carrying minimal weaponry and lacking warp capability. It's not very cheery. As Jan and Dean might have sung had Surf City been on Angosia. But it still gets a prisoner, Roga Danar, where he wants to go. This little workhorse vessel started out as a Straleb security ship designed by Rick Sternbach for the outrageous Akana. With a nip and a tuck here and there, it was an economical choice for the vehicle hijacked by Danar. The Angosian model sold at a 2006 Christie's auction for $4,000. And I want to just ask now, Mark D with a C in the chat, was it you? Were you at that?
Yes, it was him.
Is it in your attic, Mark D with a C? And turning the page, I learned that this is all the block text has to say about The Hunted. Before I say, Clubby, what did you think of the coverage and what did you think of the episode? I just wanted to say, Wolfie, I thought they were going to announce the change in the size of the model of the Enterprise. I hope it's coming soon because I do think it's over the next 2 or 3, maybe 4 episodes. But Wolfie, I know you're right. I feel you. Anyway, Clubby, what did you think of the coverage and what did you think of the episode?
Well, before I answer that, let's say thank you. We'll get for this super chat. For Mr. Trickle Trunk, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And I'm going to do this in my as close to Magooin as I can. I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own. Is it? Yes, you won't hold me. Let me prove that we will. I'm sorry, I can do the actual whole line scene verbatim, and I was confused, so I can do the whole episode verbatim. I'm that sick of a prisoner fanatic.
I like how Mr. Tickle Trunk signed off his super chat by saying incredible, and then he was like, "Sorry, carry on."
Yeah, because he said my life is. He said numbered. He said my life is my own. He actually didn't say I'm a free man, but he did say that in the credits, of course. He goes, "I am not a number. I am a free man."
He yells that on the beach. I'm not a number.
Yes,
I am a free man.
Indeed, yes. And then you hear, depending on which, there's a different laugh each time because they're different. Anyway,
Yes.
All right, sorry. Okay. You know why I wish LT were here tonight? We have no Lord Thoth here tonight. Lord Thoth, dude. You know why I wish LT were here tonight?
Why?
By the way, there was interesting coverage we were talking about. Of course, I like the coverage. Is because he could nail me in saying that this is a top 10er for me. I really, really, really love this episode.
Yeah. So do I.
Truly love the story. This is one of my all-time favorite episodes of this show. I don't care who knows it. I love the concept. I really like this actor that played Rona or Dana or whatever it was his name was.
Yeah.
I just found this to be
Jeff McCarthy.
Okay.
He's gorgeous. He is stunningly gorgeous. Jill, are you drooling? This man is so ridiculously handsome. Is that a 1,000,000-watt smile? How many lumens is in a 1,000,000-watt smile?
I don't know.
He's yummy. This guy is gorgeous, and this episode is excellent. Anyway, continue, Clubby.
I just love the story. Story so much. Here you have this. Again, it's similar, and it's a great compliment when you have an episode that's sort of not exactly or anything, but makes you feel like it's sort of a Taste of Armageddon vibe, in the sense that it's talking about issues. In the case of Taste of Armageddon, talking about war. Here we're talking about what an advanced society does with the people whom they use to get that way, and then they just discard them.
Yeah.
I think they, as a big y'all know I'm a big comic book geek, right? Well, this guy, they, in the Captain America origin, Steve Rogers was supposed to be the first of an army, and then the super soldier serum was lost, so he's the only one. In this case, they did it with technology, not necessarily. Well, yeah, it was science, same deal, except they created a whole army of Captain Americas and used them, and then kind of just kind of didn't know what to do with them, and just kind of they kind of discarded them.
Well, it's really a tribute to every war veteran and every single person who has ever fought for their country or fought for freedom. This is a tribute to every war vet and every person who has ever struggled to return to their regular lives. It's just absolutely so compassionate and beautiful. It's hard to summon the words to describe what Robin Bernheim has done in writing this wonderful, wonderful episode.
I've always loved this episode, and one of the things that is really great about it is, someone mentioned RMB earlier. Robert Meyer Burnett, one of his words, a catchphrase, he is verisimilitude, and this one has that. In other words, because this guy's Captain America, and he really makes the Enterprise look like everyone look like a bunch of monkeys. He beats them. I mean, they do. Data is the only, he doesn't know about Data, so that's how they're able to catch him in the first place. But once he knows about him, and Data just admits it was he's the one that helped catch him the first time.
That's right.
He adapts to it, and he beats them.
Yep.
And he gets away. Now, the only thing, this is, we talked about the episode you and I love, Who Watches the Watchers, a couple of weeks ago. And the only slight writing convenience, and I don't hold it against the episode, I still love Who Watches the Watchers, was just when Picard needed that example of a mortal dying, he gets one. In this one, you can go, just so happens the Enterprise there when these guys escape. But that's okay, because if you don't have any coincidence, you can never have drama on television, so it's fine.
Yeah, it wouldn't be possible.
No, it wouldn't be. So it's fine. I'm just pointing that out because I think of dumb stuff like that sometimes. But what I'm thinking is this. They really had, if they had found some way to beat these guys, and eventually, if he was a bigger threat to the Enterprise, they would have. He was really just trying to escape, and he's more of a threat to the Angosians or whatever they're calling it.
He actually wasn't violent at all. He didn't have he was a super soldier without a violent bone in his body. He was just programmed to respond to acts of violence.
Only when pushed to violence. Yes,
that's right.
And but still, he was a big problem for them. The Enterprise could have just left him there. And the thing is, I like the fact how he basically beat him. He got away, and they couldn't stop him. And I love the whole they did was that really interesting chase toward the end there and stuff. Everything about the story works perfectly. It moves well. It's fast paced, and yet has wonderful character moments. Every single, even with Counselor Obvious, the scene when he talks to her is great. The scene when he talks to Data is great.
Well, this made me actually like Counselor Cameltoe, and
she's good in this one.
She's finally good in this one. She's finally good. And isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, absolutely. This episode is almost a perfect one for me. I really do love it because it's a wonderful story. He is really great in the role. And again, key character moments. And if they had the fact that they just completely found a way to get away from the Enterprise, and they were really, I mean, yes, if he'd have been a direct threat to the Enterprise, eventually they'd have found a way to defeat him. If it had been a direct non-conflict, but he was just trying to get away from them. And it was just amazingly well done. Everything about this episode is the writing, the characters. Go for your notes, by the way.
Okay, so I think that this episode is flawless. I also think that it's, I don't think that it's too much of a coincidence that the flagship was there, on company business, as it were, to throw out a usable phrase. I think that this episode, it doesn't get more perfect. I also really like the fact that we're seeing science fiction that is capable of discussing social science and staying within the realm of social science and its humanitarian causes, its humanitarian purposes, without venturing towards didacticism and without venturing towards hammering people over the head with politics. It's not needed here. If the filth people are looking for an example of how you write something that is compassionate, that truly serves humanity, The Hunted should be your exemplar.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's absolutely perfect. I find no flaws in this episode whatsoever. For me, this is pristine. It is absolutely beautiful to look at and watch. My notes. One thing I didn't like. We're running and walking in the Jeffries tubes. This
Pretty
is
big.
the one and only time we're gonna walk and run in the Jeffries tubes, and that's okay. It's okay. It was needed because we needed to facilitate the fact that he could breadcrumb them, falsely breadcrumb them. So it serves the plot. So whatever, I'm willing to overlook it. But come on, walking in the Jeffries tube. But that said, rub all that out of your mind, Raquel. Rub it all away. Anyway, written in tribute to every war vet and every person who has ever served their country in conflict, and showing their struggle with PTSD or the ability to return to a regular life. What else did I put here? I put Star Trek royalty. Look at him. Isn't he magnificent? Mr. James Cromwell. Everyone, stand up and put your hands together for one of my favorite Star Trek royal members, James Cromwell. And then I had my daughter write this down because I believe I was brushing my teeth when I yelled this out to her. The Danar and Worf fight scene in the cargo bay is
that was really good.
premium fight scene material as far as Star Trek goes. This is excellent science fiction. This is how you write science fiction. Struggling with the social issues, technology, advancement, space, aliens. This is what science fiction is, and it is glorious. And Isaac Asimov would have loved this episode. He would have smooched it.
Yeah. Then, hello, Punk Waddle. Good to see you, my friend. This is what Trek is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, this is what the kind of story we're supposed to get out of Star Trek. You have, again, it's fast paced. Trek can be exciting. It can have action that makes sense, that works, but you don't have to have action at all in an episode. But what you do, it could still be a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this character. This is really about characterization.
Yeah.
And this wonderful story idea. The ideas of Trek are there in abundance. The execution is flawless, in my opinion. And the characterization, as I say, key scenes. It's all great, but I think the key scenes are the scenes with him and Troy, and him and Data.
Mm-hmm.
Those two scenes really, really just put it way up there. And again, the whole thing's great. I really love it all. And this has always been one of my favorites. So, Lord Thoth, you'd be able to make fun for once, the first time, one of the few times since we've been doing TNG, let's say a top tenor. So, number one, what is your rating of The Hunted?
Well, I mean, it passes the Isaac Asimov sniff test. No need for the poop Zamboni tonight. This is an A+. This is a shining exemplar of science fiction at its finest, and certainly for television. Absolutely beautiful thing to watch. Give me Danar all day as my superhero struggling with PTSD. I'm cheering for him. My heart is with him. I'm looking at all of the science, the technology, the outer space, the aliens. I'm looking at all of it and just thinking to myself, oh, this is glorious. A+.
Same here. A++ for me. This is one of the greatest. I've liked it since I first saw it. This is one of those ones, like Who Watches the Watchers. When I first saw it way back when, I'm like, wow, this show's got a chance. Mm-hmm. And I love it. So now I will ask our wonderful chat, what is your rating of The Hunted, and any comments you may have? Go.
Hey, Keely Chow, roll tide.
Hey, Keely Chow, roll tide. Good to see you, my friend. Well, I can't see it, but you saw him, so I can't see the chat because I had to stop it for the ratings there.
That's okay, boss.
I think.
Oh, who's Sir John? Or surgeon? I don't know how you want me to pronounce that. Surgeon? Surgeon, maybe? Ahoy! Sup, DSC?
Chat jumped on me. Who is that again?
I don't know. It's somebody I've never met. Intriguing name and lovely person with a great entry into the room. Surgeon or Sir John says, "Oh, ahoy! Sup, DSC?"
Is it SIR?
SERJOHN.
Okay. Well, Surgeon, thank you so much for being there. It's good to see you. All right. I'm stopping my chat now so we can get our ratings from everyone. Let's see here.
What the heck? Everyone in the chat saying is here. I don't
Is he?
see you, baby, but it's okay because
Oh, I see.
StreamYard sucks for me right now. It's doing all sorts of wonky, crazy stuff. So my StreamYard, my free version of StreamYard blows. And I can't see you, but I love you.
Hello there. Good to see you. All right, let me get my reviews going on here, folks. Make sure. Hang on, almost there. Okay, I think my first one is Raymond. If let me know if there's anyone before that, everyone. A plus for Raymond. This powerful episode is an allegory on trying yet failing to integrate combat veterans into normal life. Very apropos because when this was done, it was still close to the Vietnam experience. Yes, and unlike the way a lot of people would have handled it, it's not beating you over the head, and that's just amazing. It's just so well done, Mr. Angel. That's pretty much what I gave it. Actually, 2 pluses there. Also, Mr. Angel, A plus plus. Why? Perfection needs no explanation. It's just perfect. Me explaining it would diminish it. On a personal note, without going deep into it, rather, the episode stirred a deep emotion for me. Thanks, TNG.
Sending you a hug, Chef. Sending you a hug.
Yes, absolutely. Sandra Feliciano says, A, deals with a very real problem of adapting to civilization life, civilian life, after the discipline and mindset of the military. Mm-hmm. It's hard enough in peace. Mm-hmm. I like that the population had to deal with them in the end. Yeah. Yep. I like the whole Picard saying, but that's your problem. Deal with it. Yep. That was very well done. A plus for Kal-El. A great episode with lots of action and a well-presented moral at the end. The unresolved question as to how the Angosians will proceed was very well done. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. The great Snorter Pooper Scuber says, 1, 2. A plus. This is a tight allegory of how our society often finds the soldiers we train inconvenient when there is no war to fight. Yep.
Hey, Interplanet Janet, she's a galaxy girl.
Hey, Janet. All right. Lovely to see you, Janet. All righty then. Absolutely. The Angosians bioengineer the perfect soldiers and then discard them when they are no longer needed. Yep. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Snort.
Chin scritchies for you, my big bear.
And now we have the great enigmatic drop bear. Go for it, number 1.
He's got a 4-parter here, and he's given this episode an A. He says this was one of TNG's rare action-driven episodes. It was an allegory for the alienated and ostracized war veterans, starring Danar as John Rambo, crossed with Luke Devereaux.
Yeah. Wow.
2 of 4. He says the story was very effective at getting across its central message, demonstrating the Angosians government's shameful treatment of its war veterans. Wow, you're just dropping the mic on this one, Drop Bear. 3 of 4. It hadn't tried to reverse the soldiers' modifications, rationalizing their preservation for future wars, an amoral position antithetical to Federation values and solid basis for their exclusion. Oh my goodness, you just nailing it. 4 of 4. Couple of minor criticisms. Tractor beam can hold and repel, so Danar's suicide run should have worked. Danar shouldn't have been able to use Guard's comm badge to deactivate the force field.
Because weird.
His voice, it should have matched his voice pattern. I always think of that too. And enigmatic drop bear also running in the Jeffries tube. But we're going to set all of that aside, and I'm just going to say that was a sensational review. And isn't this a great episode?
Love it so much. I might watch it again this weekend. The Catman, aka DD Miner, says, Clobby, I give this one A. Extremely well written, and the characters truly brought to life by the actors and actress. Would be great to have seen more like that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely, no question about it. Um, Phantom Outsider B, which is B. Here's why they never follow up. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
retroactive, though, isn't it? I mean, you never at the time you didn't know, but you're right. They should have now. But are the board coming? A way to
Yeah.
mask life signs. A way to mask life signs. That was
Yeah.
sort of explained. It was different, but tech that helps soldiers adapt to challenges. The
Yeah.
Borg can't detect them. They can't assemble. Oh yeah, I mean, look,
Yeah.
that would have been useful against the Borg. Absolutely, there's no question
Yep.
about that, buddy.
For sure. It's a shame that tech won't be available to us because we wouldn't allow them in the Federation due to their abuse of their soldiers.
Indeed, I have no problem with exposing the plight of vets, but I'd like an explanation of who exactly did they set these soldiers on. Did the other side surrender? They mentioned them, but I don't know. They were no one would ever heard of, or were they obliterated? No, they just ended that war.
Yeah, and Riker was talking about the fact that it got into like the theory of war where there was like a shock and awe aspect to it, but it wasn't nuclear. So in war in tactics, you're trying to end the war as quickly as possible. And I believe it's Riker who compliments the Angosians on their ability to like stop the war so quickly. And then of course we learn why these super soldiers, this gorgeous super soldier, and so yeah, effectively explaining exactly what went down there, Phantom Outsider.
Obviously, Starfleet security didn't want this tech to be available. Competent security officers, the Union, let's say the Union would never stand for it. There would be virtually no turnover, deaths in security. Okay, let's see
Can I
here.
just respond to that by going pew 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 pew?
You can you
Star
just did.
Wars. Sorry.
You just did. Let's see, where were I? Oh, Max Redstone says A plus. I give this one all of the eye makeup. I concur with our first officer, 100%. I only wish Rogar Danar would have returned to fight the Borg. Well, I mean, yeah, it should be revisited, but how many episodes that we've loved um, that didn't get revisited? So I never hold that against the episode. I just go, wow, they should have went back to it.
Yeah,
But I
but
hear
it's
you.
also, but guys, Max, Clubby, it's also the fact that the Angosians are unrepentant. They want to keep their super soldiers. So let's go back to Phantom Outsider's comment. You're probably never going to see a Borg that's Angosian. They would not be assimilated, but we would never be able to have access to this technology, how they made these super soldiers, because we objected to them morally and ethically and didn't allow them in the Federation, and basically slammed the door in their face with a ha 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 ha, you guys are sick in the head. So that pretty much explains it. I think it closes the door on it forever. They had the technology, but they had substandard morals.
Indeed. Plus, I did that one. Now we're Michael Beacom says, um, A, when it's well written, you can talk about Vietnam veterans without preaching.
Yeah.
Loved how Cromwell talked about the escaped prisoner like he was an escaped animal and not a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Gotta
I
find your
love
other
it,
one.
Michael. I love these comments, Michael.
Oh, there's another one there. And let's see here. He shows you what the society is about without spelling it out for you. Two problems. Two problems. They are applying for entrance into the Federation, but can create super soldiers that are unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Well,
their dirty little secret fresh from war, right? These
yeah,
super soldiers are their dirty little secret. And so for me it's 100% believable.
indeed.
I don't find very many plot holes here except
No,
for what was it Enigmatic Drop Bear who brought up the comm badge thing? I didn't like that.
yeah,
Obviously, I didn't like that because I also don't like running in Jeffrey's tubes. We don't have that much space in space.
it's pretty big though. But
Right,
that's good.
Drop Bear?
And you're up. You're up number one for our wonderful friend Jill.
Well, hello, my gorgeous nerd, anti-derivative Jill. She's got a 5-parter here, and you know what that means, folks. It's an Esh pick. It is
Pick.
officially an Esh
Pick.
pick. She goes ahead and gives this episode an A, and Jill says, I actually found this one similar to the Vengeance episode with a huge difference that put it ahead. Also, yes, Raquel, eye candy helps the grade tonight. 2 of 5. Jill says,
You toxic.
instead of political pirate exiles, this one has prisoner victims to their society's hubris regarding a real science fiction angle. Vengeance missed. 3 of 5. As such, I found the solution. Found much improved when Picard admits that they shouldn't interfere further, but if they choose to, the Federation will help cure the soldiers. 4 of 5. Can the human mind be programmed to perform functions unwillingly? Real and science fiction has asked this before, but this takes it a step further. Can it be undone? 5 of 5. She says, we will never find out how his physical reprogramming gave the ability to cloak his life signs or how he interrupted the transporter, but I had tons of fun watching him evade the crew.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I did wonder about is how he was able to step out of a transporter beam.
Yeah.
That would be my, like the Jeffrey Same and stuff you talked about. That was the one thing I'm like, what in the hell?
Yeah. Well,
That's
you
the
know, they
only
all
thing.
different societies have different ways of transporting. So we don't know how far their technology has advanced.
I
I will
guess.
say that I am willing to suspend
Oh, me
my
too. Yeah.
belief
Oh, yeah.
for this one.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Jill, you can just stand up again, please, if you don't mind. Yes, dust off your skirt and stand up straight. Take a bow, gorgeous. That was an excellent review. Loved every second of it.
A great friend, and thank you, Jill, by the way. A great friend, JT Kirk says B plus, a great tribute to those who struggle returning home. I am skeptical of the explanation surrounding the lack of attempts to revert the soldiers' capabilities. Wouldn't that be cheaper than a moon? That's a good point. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know the
but
answer to
they're
that,
still
but
fresh from a war that they stopped at like breakneck speed. And the guy admits that they, like many people have already pointed out, the guy openly admits, Cromwell's aide openly admits that they don't want to revert what's going on with these super soldiers, because if they get attacked again, they put a lot of work into these super soldiers. They now realize how
yes.
effective they are, and they don't want to take it back. That's what I was saying earlier. These people are unrepentant. They're never getting in the Federation. They want to keep their little super soldier pack, and they don't want to do anything about it. If they get attacked again, they want to be able to shut down any foe.
Indeed, indeed. Mega Cropper says A minus. Thank you, Mega Cropper. Let me see where we're going. So we got. I know we have some more. Some here. Just
Mhm.
it takes me a while to get to them, everyone, because I have to stop the chat. So let's see.
Oh, Phantom Outsider says that they have nanites in their system that could block transportation long enough to avoid
Okay,
the beam. Cool.
works for me. Thank you.
Bring on the nerd. I love it, Phantom Outsider.
Phantom Outsider's the man. Neurotinex Amanda Bear says this episode was an outlier. Not many episodes of anything like this. I give it an A plus, even though some of the acting wasn't so great, among other things.
Okay. No, I think
thought,
that's fair, Nirot.
sure. Let's see here. Wolfie, here we go. Rating A minus. Exciting and entertaining story with some great acting. They will reuse this societal fracturing and reintegration story again with varying degrees of success.
Ooh, beautiful sentence construction there. Absolutely excellent, Wolfie.
Let's see here. I do think this is the best of examples. Best of example of that narrative is in this show. Yeah, of that narrative show. Absolutely. Very cool that you can use a phaser to power stuff and set it to explode if needed. That was pretty good. And again, I probably didn't even get to talk about it earlier, but yeah, the confrontation with Worf was also pretty good.
Yeah, I love the hand-to-hand combat with Worf. It was great.
You must have Klingon blood in you.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that. I loved it.
If the Angosian government survives the night, well, yeah, that was pretty
cool. Right?
That's right. Yeah, I love it. The great Mark D with the C says, we almost got close to an Eshbik from him on the way. A plus, Roga was like Khan without the vengeance or the need for world domination. You think that he is a standard supervillain of the week? well written twist that he is a soldier used and then imprisoned by his government is touching and
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
I love it.
Roga, uh, Roga, my improved reflexes have allowed me to kill 84 times, and my improved
Prove
memory
memory.
lets me remember each one
Yeah.
of those 84 faces.
Yeah.
Can you understand how that feels? Oh,
Beautiful.
God.
Beautiful.
This was such a good episode.
Beautiful.
Picard lands the last singer, letting the Rock know that when his planet was ready to join the Federation, that they could resubmit the application. Right now, he can't interfere.
Yeah.
Basically, F
F off.
off. That's
Yeah.
right. Screw you.
That's exactly what happened. He was
That's right.
appalled by the mistreatment of these people who served their country, served their planet, served. Yeah, it's just disgusting. And yeah, a lot of people were saying, that this touches upon the Vietnam War, but for me, this touches on everything. The writing is so good, it's timeless, and it can just be applied to any person who has ever served their country and walked away scarred. That includes nurses, doctors, and Doctors Without Borders, and war vets, and just anyone. It's just, isn't it a beautiful tribute to when you see something terrible and your humanity is just so stripped away, it just destroys you. It's such a compelling story, and is told so well.
Absolutely. Hey, Lee Anthony Davis. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for stopping in. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to Saturday Night Star Trek.
I can't see you, Lee. Did you say his name is Lee?
Lee Anthony Davis. I know the gentleman. Good to see
Well,
you.
hello, Lee Anthony Davis. My StreamYard is being weird, so I can't see a lot of you. My volumes and stuff are all weird, and it's kind of crazy on this side. Otherwise, I would have said hello. It's nice to meet you, sir.
Gotcha. Alara Caro said, I think we got one more review here. We'll get to the next one. Alara Caro said, A plus brings to mind this quote from Stargate episode 200. Science fiction is an essential metaphor. It allows us to tell stories about the human condition. It does.
Yes.
That's why we love, one of the reasons why
Yeah.
we love it so much.
Yeah.
Aloric, let me see if I could find Aloric's next one. I hope I'm not missing anybody. I think that's the last one. Let's see here. Asimov, individual science fiction stories may seem to the blinder critics of today, individual science fiction stories may seem to the blinder critics of today, but maybe let's left out a word. But the core of science fiction, its essence, has become crucial to our salvation if we are to be saved.
Yes.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much, Alaric. I appreciate that. I always appreciate the quotations there. As like Jill says, I think the basic consensus, this episode had so many potential threads for good episodes. If anyone cared about making Real Trek, we could get more of this, and we never will. Absolutely.
Hey, can we just leave anti-derivatives Jill's that comment up all night? I'm just kidding, but wouldn't that be great if people just listened? Wouldn't it be wonderful?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think we're ready for our final episode of the evening. What do you think?
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. I will get my notes ready right now.
All right. Well, our next one is
The Higher Ground, Season 3, Episode 12. We all watched this on January 29th, 1990. And we are going to be reading from Star Trek 365, The Next Generation by Paula M. Block and Terry J. Erdman. This has also been blessed by Ronald D. Moore. We are reading extemporaneously from this book, and we are on page 133, or block 133. Data. I have been reviewing the history of armed rebellion, and it appears that terrorism is an effective way to promote political change. Picard. Yes, it can be, but I have never subscribed to the theory that political power flows from the barrel of a gun. Data. Yet, there are numerous examples where it was successful. The independence of the Mexican state from Spain, the Irish unification of 2024, and the Kenzie Rebellion. Would it be accurate to say that terrorism is acceptable when all options for peaceful settlement have been foreclosed? Picard. Data. These are questions that mankind has been struggling with throughout history. Your confusion is only human. While delivering aid to the inhabitants of a planet torn by civil war, Dr. Crusher is taken hostage by terrorists who have the ability to transport via the dangerous technology of dimensional shifting. Although sympathetic to the rebels' cause, Captain Picard begins to realize that this is a planet where the Federation cannot take a stand, not even to save Crusher's life or his own. Thematically similar to the episode that preceded it, a man of violence earns a certain amount of sympathy from Enterprise crew members, although his destructive behavior is deplored. The High Ground was far more controversial. In fact, it didn't air, yeah, I wrote this in my notes, it didn't air on BBC until 2007, 17 years after airing in the United States. It has never been shown on the RTE, the official broadcast of the Republic of Ireland. Initially airing on Sky One, or sorry, initial airings on Sky One were edited. This episode, however, released uncut on video and DVD in the UK and Ireland, and was featured at the Belfast Cathedral Quarter Arts Festival in 2007. The episode was selected for the Belfast event because of the issues it raises in relation to censorship, festival director Sean Kelly explained at the time. It dates from 1990, a time when songs were being banned and Irish Republican politician voices were being dubbed by actors. The regional sensitivity regarding this episode's implicit suggestion that terrorism would help to bring about the Irish unification of 2024 is understandable. The Good Friday Agreement of 1998, which signified an end to the war in Ireland against British rule and the British presence in Ireland, was several years away, and the sentiments that led to the discussions that brought it about were virtually unspoken at the time. Nearly a decade after the agreement, Kelly scheduled the episode in hopes that attendees would see the funny side of an occasion on which the powers that be decided to censor an episode of popular science fiction because of what was happening politically at the time. And that is all the block text has to say about the High Ground. Clobby, what did you think of the coverage and what did you think of the episode?
Well, very interesting coverage. I didn't know all that background stuff
Well, I did.
about. I had not heard that much of that before, but no, that's what I have you for, right?
Yeah.
And was it Mark put something as well in the study of the instances of terrorism was worked. Data notes that okay, no, that was a different one.
Yeah.
Well, fascinating stuff. That I thought the episode was. I don't know. I don't hate it or anything. I thought it was pretty interesting, but not anywhere near the Hunted level for me or anything like that. I don't know. Maybe I thought this episode was a little bit too much on the preachy side, a little bit for that kind of thing, for the subject matter. Maybe I did. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Not one of my. I'm not really sure. It was such a good idea to do an episode like this, to be honest, about terrorism.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, there's some good. Some of the interesting parts of it are, with the dimensional face thing, stuff like that they're worried about, but maybe a little preachy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's okay. It's well done. Some of the drama between Beverly and this terrorist guy was interesting enough, but I've never really been super enamored of this episode. Not for any particular political reasons. I really just didn't find it to be particularly compelling, to be quite honest. Which, I mean, I don't hate it or anything. I don't know about you, but
I absolutely think that it's crap. It should be burnt and never watched.
Wow.
Yeah, well, in case you didn't know, folks at home, 99% of my DNA, according to the DNA folks, is from the 12 southernmost counties of Ireland. I'm just going to go to my notes and try and be as quick as I possibly can be. in my notes, because I don't pre-read the text, I just put banned in the UK and the Republic of Ireland until 2006, when it was heavily edited and was allowed to be watched in the UK. This is the first Star Trek episode to be written and directed by women. I put in my notes, this is too sensitive for me to discuss. It is far too political. It is hyper didacticism on steroids. I put in my notes, this is absolutely outrageous. It is superficial, incorrect, biased, and dangerous. And I also put, this is Melinda Snodgrass's second obvious swipe at the Irish, down the ladder into the Bulgia being the first atrocity.
up yours the long ladder, yes.
Up yours the long ladder, and now this.
Well, now maybe you maybe understood, made me understand why I never liked it that much.
Yeah. Well, you know, what can I say? I'm from my ancestors. 99% of my ancestors are from 12 of the southernmost counties in Ireland, and I think that this is just superficial and just absolutely awful and didactic, inappropriate, insensitive, heavy-handed, and it picks a side. You can clearly see what side it's on too. You know, and when one country is occupying another country. And that's all I can say, because it's actually so political that I don't want to get myself into trouble.
No, well, there you go. Look, now, I mean, again, I didn't know a lot of this stuff because I never really, I watched the episode one time when it came on before, never really gave it much thought then, didn't like it then. And this time I watched it again, and kind of had a feeling that's where we were going to be going with this one. But I didn't think about it much the other night when I watched it. I'm like, good God, it's heavy-handed. Heavy-handed is my biggest takeaway. I'm like, wow, you're not even subtle.
Well, even Richard Cox's character is named Finn. It's just, I just can't believe it. I just, it's the second time with the Irish here, and it's just like, oh my goodness, you know.
And it was 1989, 90 or whatever it was?
Yeah, 1990. Yep. 90. January 29th, 1990.
Okay. Well, I'm totally with you. Not cool. Not entertaining. Nothing particularly interesting about it either. Even if you don't know even if you know nothing about any political ramifications, this episode is really just kind of dull on that level. But because of what you're talking about, I got nothing but icky feelings for it.
Mm-hmm. You know. Yeah, Snortapoopus. What is it with Snodgrass and the Irish? I'm not sure.
But I do find the only thing I find, in fact, what I find most fascinating about the episode is what you and others here are saying about how it was not aired and even censored in some places, like or edited, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was banned, so you actually couldn't watch it in the UK.
Okay.
And you couldn't watch it in Ireland, and so that would be the Northern Ireland, which is owned currently or occupied currently by the UK, and then there's the Republic of Ireland. A lot of people mix those two things up. They think Ireland is just a country, and Ireland is an island, and it's an island country. And the Irish people, the indigenous people, the native people of that place that have been there for 37,000 or 38,000 years or more. They live in the south, and then the UK occupies the top. So the northern part is a part of the UK, and then what remains of the country is the Republic of Ireland in the south. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, go ahead and give your rating then.
Okay, so for me, this is an F-.
That's low. That's probably going to be your record. Well, except for Up Yours the Long Ladder, that's probably tied with that one, right? Your longest.
Yeah, it's tied with it. I think they both should be burned, and I don't understand why she called Cox's character Finn, and was just go back and listen to some of the dialogue, knowing who's the Republic of Ireland, okay, and who the British are, and yeah, and then go back and rewatch the episode and tell me what you think. Yeah, just F-.
Well, I'm going to go in lockstep with my first officer and give this one an F. Just because, again, I never, even if you don't think of all the political stuff, there's nothing interesting about the episode. In fact, except that the whole dimensional jump thing. How about do an episode about, I don't know, something to do with that maybe, but no, I don't know. Screw it. So now you guys can go ahead and put in your ratings and comment on the high ground. We had an early one there, but I'll go with that one. Catman says, the politics was a turnoff for me. I think we're going to get a lot of that. I couldn't get into this episode at all from me. What I saw was an F overall. Okay, thank you. Let's see if anyone got any yet. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Okay. No, but this might be one of the. We might be looking at another up your long level, up yours, the long ladder reviews with our reviews here to the.
Yeah, this is not science fiction. This isn't science fiction. This is political commentary.
And you know, there's a really annoying thing. Up yours, the long ladder was in the freaking second season. Okay, how you can go from having an episode like The Haunted to this?
And don't forget that Down the Dirty Ladder into the Bolgia actually called Irish people, and I quote, breeding stock.
Well, that one's way worse than this.
On top of the alcoholism.
Yeah,
breeding stock.
I thought that one was more outrageously just ridiculous and stupid and bad in every way, but this one is right there with it. It's just, I don't know. That one was up the long ladder might be special kind of bad. Who cares? They're all garbage. They're both garbage. Mr. Angel says Z minus. A Z minus. We have a new rating.
Thank you, Chef.
I'm gonna have to steal that rating from you and use that sometime, Mr. Angel. TNG, I have the high ground. Yes. Obi-Wan. Oh, you do now. Yeah, I'll get you an Obi-Wan quote. Hold my beer. Ask myself the question with TNG's problem. What the hell is TNG's problem with the Irish? Political influence through pop culture. Disgusting. And
it's not cool.
Was O'Brien in this episode?
Nope.
Nope. He was in the previous one then. Okay. Oh, no, that's not a review thing. I'm sorry. That's Mark quoting it. All right, here we go. Khalil says, F. I love it. That's the one thing I like about F's, because you go, F this episode.
Yeah.
Way too on the nose and political to enjoy. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of episode that the CW might broadcast if it was made today. And if they they had semi-intelligent sound writing, no, that they don't.
Yeah, what's going on in Ireland should not be discussed in this superficial and ridiculous and didactic way. No matter where you stand on the issue of the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland being a part of the UK, no matter where you stand on that issue, this is not the way to handle it. No. This is definitely not the way to handle it. And doing it in such a short period of time. I mean, I don't think you could properly deal with it in a 3-hour movie. So I just don't appreciate it. No matter where you stand, it doesn't matter where your politics are on that. It's just completely inappropriate.
Yeah, put it on the filth because we don't have to watch it. Mm-hmm. Mr. Tickle Trunk says D. Black yuck. I've seen high school plays with a more compelling and subtle approach to social issues. The effort was there, but come on. Yeah.
Mr. Tickle Trunk, I'm just getting to know you, and you are an awfully good fella.
Man. Snort says F. The writers have nothing substantial to say about terrorism other than it's bad. No real attempt to discuss the political, social, or economical motivations behind it. More relativism, anyone? Yeah, well, is that for sure. Let me try to find your
throw him some salmon. Somebody throw that bear some salmon.
I'm trying to find your next one, Snorty. Hang on. Did I miss him? Yeah. I'm on it, Snorty. Trying to find that one there, baby. Oh, there we go. Okay. The Irish again, really? Yeah, that was
okay.
Whatever. That's kind of what everyone's saying. Like,
honey, throw him 2 more giant Alaskan salmons and some chin scritchies. Love you, Snort.
Scritchies. That word scritchies is kind of just freaks me out for some reason. Max Redstone. I give this episode a Wesley. Well, that's worse than a Z minus.
Thanks, Max.
No, wow, Max, that's pretty brutal there. Many disappointments. The planet is a food court. The first scene is the food court of a mall.
Oh.
What are these people fighting over? Hairstyles, the terrorist weapons, or literally pew, pew, pew guns. Disgusting.
Love you, Max.
And we now have a dash pick from the great enigmatic Drop Bear. Go for it, number 1.
All right, our famous Drop Bear. He's given this one a D. He says this episode was an unsubtle allegory about the Troubles. Yeah, and from that perspective, didn't age well, given the dispute was resolved peacefully. If not for the Federation's superior tech enabling their discovery, the terrorists would have retained a significant advantage.
Yep, that's true.
Inserting this plot device significantly simplified the resolution, which would otherwise have become a whole lot more complicated to solve, probably intractably so. Other criticisms. The saucer section was still attached when bomb was exploded outside the Enterprise. How did the Ansata separatists work out how to transport onto the Enterprise?
Oh boy, that was really dumb.
5. Riker should not have led the rescue mission. To do so was reckless. His job was to remain in command of the Enterprise.
Yep, good point. Good points all. They shoved the ladder up. Yes.
Yeah, I can't comment on any of the comments because I don't want to comment about politics. I just don't want to do that. I just think that what's happening in Ireland is a very, very complicated thing, and this is not the way to deal with it.
Yep. Raymond, F, too preachy. Did Chinballs write this? Maybe he did.
Yeah.
Michael Beacom says, F, I am so glad you guys hate this episode because I did rewatching it this week. Good science fiction asks questions. Bad tells you what to think.
That's right.
And this one did it so horribly it might. Let me find your next one, sir. Hang on. Sometimes that thing goes really fast. And the episode, it's hard to group these together. Hang on, Michael. Oh, there we go. Okay. Might have been an episode of The Filth.
Yeah.
Written by Hollywood clueless intelligentsia who flunked history. Yeah. I worked for a British company in the 90s, and this was so clueless, it is almost miraculous. That is a good point. Yeah. And yes, Michael, it's again, to quote Blackadder, it has that as subtle as a rhinoceros horn up the backside.
Yeah, it's terrible. And very insensitive and very, very insensitive. There are so many emotions over this issue. Fiery emotions. People have been killed. Like, it's just, oh boy, you shouldn't be touching this with a 10-foot pole. Never mind jumping in with your hip waders and smearing poo all around. Oh, it's just so bad.
Exactly. Here we go. Phantom Outsider says, F in stupid.
Yep. 1 of 3.
Well-checked Bio Snodgrass was a well-checked Bio Snodgrass was a practicing lawyer for 3 years in 2002. Yeah. Started managing small gas company in
National
New Mexico.
Gas company in New Mexico.
Oh, natural gas. Yep. New Mexico. I checked with the Poop Zamboni people. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we worked it all out. Phantom Outsider. Great use of those limited characters. I love it, Phantom Outsider. Thank you.
They say they will not even touch this episode to drive over it. Apparently, Poop Zambonis have higher standards than the alleged high ground they created a problem with. So no solution in any. I'm fine. It takes a while to find these sometimes, man. But I'm on it. Universe. Eventually, someone must come to the table seeking peace. Dimensional teleportation is dangerous. Can be used on the Borg. Nope. Same with using it to transport photons into
Berg ships.
I think it's Borg ships. Might mean Borg ships.
He does.
Okay, well now you're up. We have our wonderful friend Jill. Go for it.
Anti-derivative Jill. glorious nerd that she is. We love her. She's got a 4-parter. She's given this episode a D-. She says this one is also a little like Vengeance, except that is worse instead. It had a half-hearted, cheesy attempt at humanitization through artwork. They want to force Rutia into negotiating with Federation strong arming through direct force. Just getting bored. This episode asks how much would a faction be willing to make their people suffer in order to win a conflict, but it never makes an attempt at actually answering or resolving anything. Yeah, what's the conflict? DS9 will address terrorism much better later when we get into the Cardassians and the Bajorans.
Absolutely.
Jill, I'm sending you just smooches for your whole face and a huge hug. What a wonderful and beautiful and compassionate response to this episode. You are a fantastic human being, Anti-Derivative Jill.
Well done, Jill. Well done, Jill, as always. J.G. Cook says D-. Patty Stew auto apologize for how the Irish are treated. Again, he's a raspberry head, and that'll never happen. Also, the script didn't do well showcasing Gates McFadden, an Irish actress. Is she? I guess he is.
That's for you, J.T. Kirk.
Sandra says D. Just not enjoyable to watch. Too political in its very foundation. No actual story or moral to justify the violence endemic to the characters. Yeah. Max Manaber says, I'll give it an E for enlightening. So often these days, all people from a continent get lumped together as one cohesive group. Okay. Let's see here. Megacropper C, the transporter trek. Was the best part. Tech was the best part. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, the fact that they had an alternate way of transporting. Yeah, Megacropper. That is a very good point.
Well, it was killing them. You know, they could have done some kind of story on that.
Yep.
There you go. Jill said, you heard it here. Z is now the official grade of TNG episode that is below an F. That's right. We're going to go for it that way.
Preach. Preach.
Wolfie. Here we go. Wolfie. Rating D. Too bad the poop Zamboni got a much needed cleaning off and refit in space dock this week in the shop. Trek should probably stick to O'Brien when discussing Irish heritage.
That would be good.
Fair enough. Yes, it should.
And you know what's so funny too, though, is do you remember in the block text when we discussed this before that Irish people have come forward and have complained, and Snodgrass was, she was hiding behind the pant leg of Hurley, saying, oh, well, Hurley's Irish, but I mean, this is the block text. This is Paula M. Block giving evidence that Irish people do not appreciate this stuff, and yet Snodgrass continues to do it. But now she doesn't have the pant leg of Hurley to hide behind anymore.
No, sure doesn't. Hungry Boy, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for popping in, my friend. Always a pleasure. The great Commodore D with the C says, I was surprised they mentioned Ireland in this episode too. Too overtly political for Trek instead of using allegory to discuss war and terrorism. Let's see here. When you know exactly what the writers are talking about instead of leaving it open to interpretation, then they have failed. That's a great point about anything. Yeah, that's absolutely true, especially with something like this. They're trying to promote peace, but instead banging you over the head with a political message. Riker, he could have killed you. He didn't. Maybe the end begins with one boy putting down his guns. Eat a bag of shit, Riker.
Yeah, not only that, the Finn character, his boy was taken into custody and they killed him in custody. So they take away the little boy and put him in custody. So they're probably going to kill that little boy too. I mean, that certainly didn't tie up the loose ends of the story now, did it?
Well, another thing about just the story itself, they never explain anything about why the conflict is happening. Did you notice?
That's right.
They never talk about why they're pissed off. why they're fighting this war. It is never, unless someone remembers seeing something I don't. Maybe the episode was so boring, which was one of my biggest takeaways, in spite of the politics. In addition to the politics, is it ever explained what this guy is so cheesed off about on this planet? Not once. That's another example of how transparent they are with their stupid allies.
Well, it assumes that everybody already has a side, and everybody is already condemning, and everybody has already decided what they believe. So it doesn't teach you how to think; it tells you what to think, and therefore it fails in its Socratic dialectic. It is void of the Socratic dialectic.
But see, it also hurts its character. This character of this guy, because he doesn't tell you what he's fighting for. He's pissed off and he's killing people, and he's we know about the transparent Ireland allegory, but they don't tell you what on this planet what they're fighting and why. They never do.
Nope, they never do. But they're very quick to mention the Irish unification, and then or the future Irish unification, and then call the lead character Finn.
Oh yeah, it's pathetic. It's so transparent and stupid. It just sucks. I forgot the Phantom Outsider says, forgot they had both Picard and the Doctor. If they captured Riker, they'd have to face the dreaded Captain Wesley, but not the good Wesley from the Princess Bride, the other little punk. Yeah,
well, they could have sent in a pimple probe.
A pimple probe.
Send in the pimple probe.
Let's see. I think we got all of our reviews. Let's see here. I think we got it. I'm just double checking really quickly here, folks.
Wow. So now we're early at the beginning of the show. We got a slow start because we were all socializing because we all love each other so much and we're all such great friends and having such a good time. And now we're a little bit ahead of schedule. Can you believe it, folks?
Oh my God. Clobbering time. Forgot. Yeah, look at Phantom Outsider. That's good. That's actually interesting. Forgot that the rebel leader, the rebel in quotes, leader was an artist, but as usual, STOS has the answer. Oh, you were an artist. Oh, some guy's name starts with an H. Had to, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think there we go. So now I'm up to speed on the chat. Okay. Well, everyone, that takes care of all 4 episodes. We have reviewed 4 more, folks. Yeah, and you're right. Record time.
Yeah, Alark, you go ahead. Go ahead and rewatch it. And yeah, I don't want to comment on it either. To tell you the truth, it makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable.
If you told me up front, we could have cut it out. We could have not done it. I wouldn't mind it at all.
No, because I don't believe in censorship.
It's not censorship, though, if you decide not to talk about something, though. In other words, if you said, yeah, I mean, like there's censorship when you're stopping somebody from something. But if you told me, this episode and the reasons why you don't want to talk about it, I said, screw this episode. It's not worthy of being reviewed, and I wouldn't have minded at all.
Well, you're brilliant, and I love how you don't give air to negativity. I am of the same philosophy when it comes to the filth. So I think you're a marvelous human being, and thank you for being so sensitive to the fact that not everyone wants to see and hear this kind of stuff, and it can be very upsetting and very disturbing for some people. And you should be careful when you start dabbling in the politics of other countries and in the things that go on there. I think that you're a stand-up gentleman, and certainly, coming from Gen X, I was always taught that you never talk about sex, politics, or religion in public because it offends people. It could be upsetting to people, and people only do it for shock value. And so I just want to say right now that I absolutely love your company because you are so gentlemanly that you don't go to the pot of let's offend people because we don't have anything positive to talk about. So I appreciate you very much. I love you and respect you very much, and thank you so much for saying that.
Well, you're too kind. But the only people I want to offend are the people who like filth. Just kidding, folks. You can like, and again, we kid. You could like anything you want. And by filth, we mean anything that's calling itself Star Trek that really isn't. If you know what I mean. let's see here. M says,
Yeah.
don't cut the episode out, but do comment on its failings. You did that. Yeah, I'm again, but I'm saying if I would have been more than happy to just not talk about it if Raquel had not wanted to. And
You're wonderful. I love
I
you.
mean,
I think
and, you
what
know,
is trying to say is I think it also creates a teaching moment where you can discuss why people find it upsetting. And I hope well, actually, I didn't even do that. It was actually mostly Paula M. Block who did that, who expressed why and where this episode went wrong. And to Paula M. Block's credit, she also did the same thing about down the ladder into the dirty fetid Bulgia. She
right.
did. She actually in both of episodes where she did coverage, she called Snodgrass out on it and said the truth. And so, in so doing, I have to doff my cap to Paula M. Block for giving that non-political coverage and letting and being upfront about the fact that more people find it offensive than find it okay, because it's disrespectful and offensive. So
Yeah.
yeah, love it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I absolutely agree with that. But I'm just saying, if she didn't want, if it was something that made Raquel not comfortable talking about it, I don't mind cutting it out. But since she wanted to go ahead and she didn't say that, I think we cover it all. And yes, we're covering everything. So, who knows?
Says he's got your back, Clubby. He totally knows. He just said in the chat,
Yes. Oh yeah.
Raquel knows what I mean and says
Oh,
it better
sure.
than me. Well, you're a good friend. And I've
it's always
gotten
good
to
to
know
see you.
you, so I know your heart and I know what you mean. And I think you're a terrific person. Thank you so much for your support.
And we love that name because it's unpronounceable, like Spock's real
It's
name.
terrific. I mean,
Anyway.
it could mean that you had some of Chef's delicious supper, Mr. Angel. So it could be that. Or if it were a really spicy evening, we could make it sound like a really, really cool Ducati. You know what I mean? Like you're rolling through the hills in Italy on a beautiful Ducati. So I love the fact that could be any number of things.
Indeedishness.
Yeah.
And this has been just so much. You're all just so fantastic. It's so much fun hanging out with you, talking about this stuff. You guys, it's just the best. What a great group we have here. What a great team we have here out there. I can't get enough of it. My Saturday nights are my favorite thing now because of all of you hanging out with us, because we have a lot of fun just talking together all the time for hours and hours. Raquel's just so much fun and wonderful to talk to, and it's just an added bonus to get to hang out with all of you hanging out with us. It's like a little con, I guess, talking some Trek, a little Trek meeting every week. And thank you, Terrell. I appreciate that. So it's just, we just cannot say enough how much we love hanging out with you all on Saturday nights. You're just amazing. And well, thank you for that, Aaron Baker. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Aaron Baker says, and who's new to us, so we'd like to welcome all new people. Good point. Religion and politics should be left outside the door. All it does is bring miserable feeling and tension to the table. Ideology is best left in a dark room. Yeah, it can be. It can bring its problems. Not fun to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, Aaron
it takes
Baker,
the fun out sometimes.
Aaron Baker, think about Thanksgiving dinner. Think about how you feel at Thanksgiving dinner if you can't even pull your family in to agree with you on sex, religion, and politics, and everyone feels offended and everyone feels upset. Why focus on it? And certainly focusing on sex, religion, and politics in science fiction doesn't really get into science or science fiction, right? Because that's not the definition of it. So I really appreciate your comment, Aaron. Great comment.
We have back-to-back complete dichotomy, because we have The Hunted, which is exactly how you should do it. It's not, it wasn't political, it was moral. And then you have The High Ground, which is political. I always say, people like, these people like to say, the ones who try to defend the filth by saying, well, Star Trek's always been political. No, but it did happen sometimes. It happened with garbage like The High Ground, for example. In my opinion, it's not a popular opinion, but it happened with Star Trek 6. It happens with, so Star Trek does get quote unquote political sometimes. And to me, almost every time it does, it falls down. It makes a mistake. But the majority of the time, especially all the episodes, the great ones for me, they get moral. They're moral. Their morality plays of various types mixed in with science fiction, but they're not necessarily what I would call. I don't call the Hunted political. I do call the High Ground political,
Yeah.
and a few other ones. I don't call it may not be subtle, but I don't call Let That Be Your Last Battlefield political. I call it moral. And again, that doesn't mean every episode that has a great moral is going to be perfectly well done or anything. I don't call the defector political, really. But there are some episodes, and even in Real Trek, that get to political. Like Up Yours the Long Ladder, that's political, unbelievably political. Melinda Snodgrass. By the way, people talk about how it's a recurring pattern. It is, because before she ever wrote Trek, she wrote some really dumb stories in a book series I used to read called The Wild Cards that George R. R. Martin put together, and she wrote garbage in that too. And she was political. She's always political, and she has no subtlety.
Yeah, and not entirely truthful either. Remember, Paula M. Block calls her out, and does say, you said that this wasn't about XYZ. But then later when she was interviewed, she said, oh yeah, it was totally about XYZ. So what she says to Trekkies and what she says to the press are two different things, or at least they were. So she has admitted that she does this stuff in scripts. So yeah, and I do have to say that I really appreciate Paula M. Block's naked honesty in all of this, and in the way she discusses it. I think she's a wonderful launching off point. I'm very proud of her, and she certainly, you can definitely see why Paula M. Block is a favorite among the Star Trek folks in being able to convey the true ethos and the true stories of Star Trek. I doff my cap to her. Great lady. Good job, Paula.
Much thanks to you, Narat and Axamanda Bear. I appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you. She's Narat says, it's true. I barely ever talked to anyone about Star Trek. This is like a mini convention for super fans. Well, I really appreciate that, and I hope you look. You're always welcome to talk about Trek with us here, and we love that you enjoy that, because one of my favorite things to do in life is talk Trek. I mean, talking other things too. I love, comics and Doctor Who and Blake Seven and The Prisoner and Star Trek and all, and and Star Wars, things like that as well. Talking my geek stuff is about my favorite thing to do. So I'm glad you're here. Really appreciate you.
Narat, we love your company. You are such a great part of this community, and we're happy you're a part of this community. So thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for the company, and thank you for showing up every Saturday and hanging out with us.
Catman, Dee Myers, good luck and thank you so much for being a good luck to your wife. We're about to say our goodbyes in a second anyway, but yeah, Catman had to run. So thank you so much.
Good night, Dee Myers.
I wonder if there's a Farscape review live stream, says Narat. I know Loki used to do one. He had to stop for a while. So I don't know if there's one currently going. Loki did it for a little while, Narat, and I like that show. I finally got to watch it a couple years back, but it's not like Trek where I know enough about it to stream a review show of it yet, but who knows? Maybe one day, you never know. It was a good show. Though. Now, before we say our goodbyes, of course, I'll do a show note after I tell you all that my wonderful first officer is an author, and I want to let her to talk a little bit about her writings, and then we'll do it. We'll say goodbye and get out of here.
Well, cool peeps. Do you like science fiction? Do you like short stories? Do you like Philip K. Dick? Do you like Edgar Allan Poe? Do you like H.G. Wells? Well, then you might like my short stories and my flash fiction. If you'd like to give them a try, they're only 74 cents for Americans. I believe that is the price on them. And you can buy them at Amazon and download them onto any device. All you have to do is look up my name, R.M. Briggs. You can also get them through Goodreads, and you can get them on your Kindle device. And Clubby, thank you so much for helping to promote my short story collection. I really am so excited about getting that collection on the move and getting it hardbound and being able to share it. Thank you so much.
Oh, anytime, number one. I'm glad that I'm glad you're doing well with it. Everyone, thank you so much. Mr. Tickle Trunk says Fat Stevens Golds currently. Yes, he's doing a Babylon 5 show, and he is a good buddy of mine. So, and I pop in whenever I can, or at least it's in the daytime, so I kind of have to lurk sometimes. But yes, I love my boy Fat Steven, and I'm glad he's doing that Babylon 5 show. We love Babylon 5 here. So now yeah, Monday night I'm going to do a kind of an open Monday night Mark C comics talk, I should say. We do something I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet, so it'll probably just an open comic book talk of some I don't know what it'll be. Something that'll be geeky and it'll be comics, and then it'll be 9 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday night, Wild Card Wednesday. I may do a topic, may just talk to you guys like I do sometimes, and then the Global Geek Gang shall gather 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Thursday, and then 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on that same Thursday. Globby's Clubhouse with the wonderful Raquel and our great buddy Mark D with SC. And then next Saturday night, 4 more episodes. Thank you, Jill, for doing that. 4 more episodes will be Deja Q, A Matter of Perspective, Yesterday's Enterprise, and The Offspring. Wow, that's a big one there.
Thank you so much for doing that, Jill. Clubby, I'm sorry, Captain. I beg your pardon. I don't like to interrupt you, but I read something. It's flown by in this stupid chat, and my StreamYard doesn't work very well. What's going on with Dee Dee Myers' wife? Is she okay?
It says she's doing better. Then she was. Oh, sorry. She's doing better. Then she was started the road. Oh, she started the road recovery on Monday. Long way to go. She can't use her whole left side. Try not to let her get upset with herself. It's truly hard. Oh my goodness. Well, Catman, Dee Dee Myers, best big good vibes. And for those who pray, and anyone who's out there praying or whatever, just keep Catman, Dee Dee Myers, wonderful wife, and your prayers and your thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And I wish her the very best, my friend.
Can you please just show Dee Dee the love? Because you know what? Maybe his wife will see it and she'll feel inspired. Could you please throw a Dee Dee up in the chat? Just to throw that wonderful lady a hug. I don't know what's going on, but I will tell you this. I find it very upsetting, and what a beautiful way her husband is speaking about her right now.
Yes.
Dee Dee, we're just sending you a big old hug, and this whole community is behind you and your wife. Please tell her how many wonderful people reached out tonight to send her a hug and to send their sincere support.
Absolutely, Dee Dee. Best wishes. And their vibes and prayers and all and thoughts and all those things heading your way to your wonderful wife. Dee Dee's wife, get better soon.
Yeah, honey.
Good luck, buddy. And now I'm going to start saying my goodbyes to all of you. As we say, our tradition is everyone gets, even if they're still not here, get the shout out because we love you all and we want you to know how much we think about you and how much we care about you. And because we go so fast during the show, it's tough to get all that wonderful chat going on, all that fun. Who disliked Phantom Mustang? Did we get a dislike? Oh, I don't know. That's pretty funny because I rarely get dislikes. I'm not a big enough channel to get dislikes, folks. So if I got one, if somebody got butthurt over that, I don't know. Unless they saw on Twitter I was making fun of that new Batman trailer. I don't know. Anyway,
it's probably me. They probably dislike me, but it's okay. I'm used to that.
Oh, come on. Don't be silly. It's got to be me. I hope it's me. I'm going to be jealous if it's you. I want it to be me. So there. Let's see here. Now for our shout outs. Have a great night, everyone. Phantom Outsider. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you so much. Great comments tonight. Have a great rest of your weekend, Phantom.
Indeed. Stuart Mitchell. Thank you, buddy. Dolly had braces.
She did. She had braces. We are being gaslit. Hail, Stuart Mitchell.
Hail. Yes, and let me tell you something about that. Dolly had braces. All right. Auden Feliciano and as in Raymond and Sandra Felicianos, thank you so much.
Yes, Felicianos, sending our love to you. And please, chat, check out that URL that Mr. Feliciano just put in the chat.
Yes, please.
Something very interesting is brewing over on King Dolphin TV. So please check it out and please support Raymond.
Maybe the dislike could be either Wesley or the high ground one. Yeah, maybe it's Will Wheaton. I think Will Wheaton listens. Hey, Will, no hard feelings. Of course, hard feelings. Go suck it.
Yeah, maybe they didn't like that I said the pimple probe.
Too bad. Too bad. Toughen up, Buttercup. Let's see. Snort a poo-poos.
I want to do it so bad, but I can't. So here's the new version because my StreamYards is different now. I actually can't do it, you guys. The StreamYard is different now. So here it is. Snort a poopus. Cuber.
Oh, now I'm disappointed. Mr. Tickletrunk said the dislike disappeared.
Oh no.
Oh man, I want my dislike back. Dang it. Oh my. I can't. I'm such a loser. I can't even keep a dislike. My goodness. Steve Mitchum. I think Steve had to run, but we love Steve. The great
Good night,
man.
honey.
Enigmatic Drop Bear. Thank you so much.
Beautiful comments this evening. Excellent, excellent comments this evening. Thank you so much for your wonderful participation, for taking the time to flesh out your ideas and your thoughts and sharing them with us. You are outstanding. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. D-Bud Martin, the man of iron, brother.
Yay,
thank you.
D-Bud.
A little earlier, the wonderful, lovely Six was here. Six, I don't know if you're still there,
or he was.
Six is a lovely lady.
She is a girl. I knew it because
yeah, she is.
She said Riker was hot. I've never met Six before. I'm looking forward to getting to know her. I'm so happy she's a part of our community now.
That's true. The great Alaric Harrison. I am indeed the ghost of the great Howard Cosell. Welcome to Monday Night Football. I'm sorry, Saturday Night Star Trek. And a thrilling episode, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it wasn't my best, Howard. Sorry, but thank you, Alaric Harrison, and thank you for being here, Alaric Harrison.
My husband loves your Howard Cosell, and so do Jill and I. We all love your Howard. This is Howard Cosell. See, I can't do it, but yours is fantastic.
What an extraordinary football player that young man is. Zathras. Thank you, Zathras.
Okay, you ready? Crap, crap, crap.
Crap, crap, wonderful crap. Crap, crap, wonderful crap, 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 crap. It's more like spam, 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 wonderful spam. Kal-El, buddy, thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful comments. Have a great weekend, Kal-El.
The great Eric K.
Mwah, mwah. Love you, love you. I hope you're feeling better. I hear you're on the mend. I'm thinking of you, and I'm sending you a soft hug. And so are the puppies.
Out to my great Hulk villain pal, Zax. Is Zax?
Yeah. Hi, Zax.
Great, wonderful friend. Anti-derivative Jill. She is anti-being derivative. She wants you to know that.
That's right. I think that she's actually a math nerd, so I think that that's like a very complex name and very cerebral. Jill, gorgeous. You were outstanding as usual. I absolutely loved your comments, and your company is first rate. I wish that you lived closer to us because, you know, you and I, we'd be hanging out quite a lot. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week. And yeah, again, wow, great, great comments tonight. Thank you so much for your time and your feedback.
I thought it was just because she doesn't like derivative things. So it shows what I know.
I think she's a mathlete. I could detect that she was a nerd because she is consistently academic. So I actually believe Jill may be a mathlete nerd. This is just my speculation. This is my discourse analysis. I have sussed out that she is a nerd through her diction. So I believe I'm correct.
She said that. She said you're correct, but I'm still like, I like that. I'm going to let myself believe, Jill, if you don't mind, that you just don't like derivative things. You're anti things that are derivative. I don't know why. Anyway.
Yeah, see, it's a calculus reference. I knew it.
That means you would hate Hollywood. So there you go. JT Kirk, thank you.
Yes, JT, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great weekend.
Hey, and now that, you know, again, that Shatner's been in space, and you're JT Kirk, it's Kirk in space.
JT in space.
JT in space. Michael Beacom, thank you, buddy, for being here. We appreciate you so much.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. Great comments tonight.
Mr. and Mrs. Dadman walking. Love ya.
Oh, you
Thanks for
guys
being here.
were awesome tonight. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I just absolutely loved all of your reviews.
Indeed. Mr. Angel, Chef, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Chef, outstanding as usual, sir. I salute you.
The great Chris Persia was here. Chris, buddy, thank you. Apollonie's Minion stopped by. I don't know if she's here now, but hail to her.
Pupper.
The beautiful Sherry. Sherry, it's always a pleasure to see
Sherry.
you there. Great to see you, love. Thank you for being here. John, JPR, PH1.
Hey, John.
Thank you. The great Max Redstone.
You were wonderful tonight. Just so funny.
Appreciate you, Max. Terrell782. Thank you, sir.
Good night, Tyrell.
The wonderful It's Courtney. Fellowship of Eyeballs. I love that name. Thank you, Courtney.
Yes. And
19...
terrific name, because of course that's where the attention economy is going. Eyeballs. So very, very clever, wonderful name.
1903 TX.
Good night.
The great Wolfie 762.
Ow! Wolfie, you were terrific tonight. I loved every single review, every comment. You were outstanding.
Our fantastic friend, the great Mark D with a C.
Mark, you know we love you around here. You're just terrific.
Mark D, put your channel link in the link if you would there, dude. And please, everyone, if you have not already, please go subscribe to Mark D with a C. And I'll be on there tomorrow night with him if he's streaming and he invites me on Sunday night. So yeah. And
he's not just a YouTuber. Just so everyone knows, he's more than just a YouTuber and a streamer, and he is a maker. And you guys have to go and check out the stuff he makes. Buy a Doomsday Machine. Mark makes stuff that the big companies don't make, and it's stuff that nerds love, that stuff that nerds crave. You would not believe how accurate his Doomsday Machine is. And he even made like a little stand for it, so you could have like a Doomsday Machine on your desk. Anyways, highly recommend Mark D with a C. Please check out his channel and please support his work. He is a maker, and cosplayers and makers always go together and promote one another. So go over there. Get your bums over there.
Our great buddy Ironcaster was here. Buddy,
hey,
appreciate
Ironcaster.
You. And they call him Scuba Pete.
Scuba Pete!
Ted Millich was here. Ted, thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
A pleasure, Ted. Downside, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, Downside. It was great to see you in the chat again. Thank you so much for supporting our show and for supporting this channel.
Nirada Maxamanda Bear, thank you so much.
Yes, you were terrific tonight. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
And again, big shout out to the Catman, aka Dee Myers, and his wonderful wife.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah, I'll be thinking of you all weekend, and you go ahead and keep that Twitter updates, keep them coming if you're comfortable with sharing that. I mean, you've shared it here on YouTube, but this is a pretty tight little community. But keep us posted. We really do care, and we'd like to know what's going on with her, and be sure to send that love that the whole chat sent to her.
The great Captain Deckard Spock, buddy, always a pleasure to see you, sir.
Good night, Captain.
Mega Cropper, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you.
Good night, Mega Cropper.
Your Muslim uncle, my good friend. We appreciate you so much. I hope you are doing well. Thank you again for that super chat. And thank you for always great to see you pop in there.
Agreed.
And shout out to you, and peace be upon you.
Yeah, and so good to hear that things are looking up for your mom. We were all thinking of her, and yeah, once again, sending more love to your mom, and so good to hear. Wonderful, wonderful news. Have a lovely weekend.
Indeed. Mr. Tickle Trunk, always a pleasure. Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate
you. Hysterical, and thank you so much for your super chats. You were so fun to be with tonight, and your super chats were much appreciated.
And our new friend Aaron Baker.
Yeah.
Aaron, thank you so much. Our old buddy Punk Waddle.
Punk Waddle's terrific. I love Punk Waddle.
Keely Chow, roll tide.
Roll tide.
Sir John, hello. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure, sir. And the wonderful Janet stopped by, the lovely Interplanet Janet is from another planet.
She is a galaxy girl.
Absolutely. Lee Anthony Davis, good to see you stop by, my friend. Thank you so much. We appreciate seeing you here.
Nice to meet you.
And last but never least, he popped in at the last minute. The great Hungry Boy, my good friend,
Yay!
and a great artist in his own right. And the only show note I would have is there's a description in my there's a link in my description below to my Clobby's Comics Corner Spinner Rack Time Machine videos that I've been doing if you're a comics fan, and talking some comics Monday night. So anyway, those of you who have stuck to the end get to the treat of seeing this wonderful intro, outro. I say outro because I don't think anyone knows what an extra is. I'm pretty sure they don't.
Oh, Jill just sent you a sticker, boss.
Thank you, Jill, for that 149 sticker. I appreciate you. We love you, Jill. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I love this intro, outro made by my fantastic first officer. And it's and of course, with a little help, assist getting in here from the great Mark D with us, our chief engineer. So please enjoy this. I always enjoy. I never can get enough of this. I really love it. So everyone, have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you back here next week. Take care and live long and prosper.